Yeah, man. Good morning. It is 8:52 a.m., December 7th, 2023, here in New York City. It's your boy Doc. It is very early in this freezing cold Thursday. Let's see where we're getting going. How's everybody doing? What are we looking at? So I'm not sure how long we're going to go today. The plan was to go all day, but there was a little hiccup in promotion, so I don't know if we're going to go all day, but we'll see. We'll see how the day goes, just like anything. Just going to ease on into this right now. I know it's not even 9 o'clock yet, so we got a nice batch of time. I like to do before the bell rings is just cycle through my watch list. It's usually the same 20 or so that I have up here. I add and remove some here and there. You got the Qs, the SPY, Tesla, NVDA. And then I add a few here. I add Crisp, Palantir they've been talking about. We've been talking about in different areas. Roku. Roku is at the top of its game. That's why it's on my watch list. Let's just zoom out here real quick. That's disgusting. That doesn't look like anything. Just like anything that you take a look at, it's been on an incredible tear, right? And the point that we're trying to look for is a possible pullback or correction. I think this is that area for Roku, and I'm gonna let Roku decide for me. I'm not gonna guess. I'm not gonna try and guesstimate if we're gonna go up or gonna go down. Look at the info, look at the data, look at the direction, and then make a move accordingly. Obviously, it's sitting at nice support right there. What is that, 101.50-ish? We broke through it, came back, tested it once, and now it looks like it's almost going to test it again. We'll have to see. I don't want to start nitpicking on each one. Otherwise, we'll be here, I was going to say, all day. But I do have a couple of housekeeping things to take care of until that point, so we'll see how it goes. Chris, this was a hedge play. This is what all this nonsense is right here. Let's see, where did I want to go here? I kind of like the way the Qs, just similar to what Roku we were just looking at. I kind of like the way the Qs are testing a recent break. Let's see. See this volume line right here? That's incredible support. Incredible support before this, especially this right here. This is a huge volume gap. Huge volume gap. Yeah, this is kind of gross. That's a little better. reason that's better. I need some music. This is painful. Sit here in silence. I don't know how anybody does that. I used to take headphones to the library. I can't do it. I still like Tesla to come down. The data is so, it's hugging right at 240, 245. This little area right here. This is where Tesla's been living. It's not to say that it's not doing anything. It's just that it's been living in this zone. It is slightly rising. Okay, and what does that tell you? A slightly rising channel breaks to the downside. Usually. Not to say that it's going to break to the downside, just usually. Is my mic really low? How do you like me now? No. That's much better. There we go. So as anyone just strolling in, we're just going to ease into the day right here. We're not going to kick it off with a full, hey, how you doing kind of a thing. Just kind of eased in. The idea is to show how to trade with certain tools, and the one we're going to cover today is QTA. But it's how to trade, not really how to YouTube, obviously. So, I did not go to YouTuber's school, but I can provide some insight into trading. It's now 9 a.m. I'm going to break in a little bit. I'm going to get something to eat. I just want to turn this on, let you guys know that, I don't know, just to say hi. Definitely want to get something to eat before the bell comes in, though. Because I'm all hungry. All right, what are we going to look at today? We are going to look at Tesla. Something by the end of this week is going to happen with Tesla. Whether we go up or down, I know I'm kind of talking low right now, but only because my volume gets a lot louder throughout the day. Not my actual technical volume, but my physical volume, my voice. Palantir, yeah, I'm not going to, we'll follow it just because a couple of people were talking about it, but I'm not going to actively get into that. CRISP is something I'm holding shares-wise. This is also not looking sustainable. We have a sloping down RSI top. MACD made a new extremely lower high. Now this could be the indicators resetting themselves for another leg higher, or this could be an indication that this is going to take a bearish downturn. We do have the 60 right here. That's providing really good support. Ever since it took off, came back and tested it. At first test, see ya. Second test, not so much yet, but we are at this resistance right here, just around 73.50. I know the highs is 76.19. That's an outlier though. This is like the real resistance. The real resistance. 72.50. Ish. Ish. When in doubt, ish. Let's get air. Yeah, we're going to stick to most likely the top 5. NVIDIA, Tesla, Qs, SPY. Maybe take a look at the IWM or the Dow. But maybe throw a Roku. Snap is also something I've been watching as reaching its saturation point. Right? RSI is above the 80 mark. Remember, over 70 is the mark. Not really like it should turn around, but you should start noticing that it's high. When it reaches above 70, you start noticing that it's high. Not a call to action. Like, holy smokes, put everything into puts. It's over 70. Just, take notice. Because obviously it's been over 70 for a long time here. We get it right. Get there. See right here. But this isn't really showing me signs of slowing down. I mean, it topped off, double top on the RSI, but we're still climbing. I don't know. It's one of these things with Snap is like, I like it. I want to get into it, but I also don't at the same time because I don't normally trade it, and that's really not a reason why not to, but it's just an unknown. It's more of an unknown. Tesla I can look at and get a feel, except for right now. Bad example. Tesla, usually I can get a feel, okay, we're going to start coming down here. But we're at this point at the top of the trend where we could pop out. See this top? We're on the trend line down here. We reached it. We touched it 2 times in the last, between the last 7 sessions. So this could be knocking on the door to go higher. Or, see this double top right here? Once, twice, down, once, down. So, we're going to be watching Tesla. We're going to be watching Roku. Palantir, I don't know, not so much. SPY, always the SPY, right? Nice cup handle. This is your typical cup and handle, right? If we broke out to new higher highs, I wouldn't be shocked because of the pattern. I'd just be shocked because it's new higher highs. Like for the past year and a half, almost 2 years, we've been thinking of this whole doom and gloom type situation. Don't forget, all of 2023 just about was an uptrend. 2023 was great. I mean, everyone's feeling the pain in the market, like the shopping malls or whatever, the grocery stores, but the market has been doing great. From October 2022 straight till October or September, August 2023, straight uptrend. And now we pull back, and now we're testing that high limit, that high resistance again. This is going to be interesting. Obviously, if we break out, we're going to see them want to come out. Come back and retest there and go higher. I need some tea. This is ridiculous. How trades? Ridiculous. I definitely got to get some food in me. It's not been my normal morning. Yeah, we're just going to ease into the day. We're going to ease into it. Where's my levels? Music in the monitors. How about now? How you like me now? 0.77. There you go. Oh, just cruising around. Just shopping around, seeing what we're like for the day. And let's pull up. You're going to wish I had this low energy later, I'm telling you. Joke's on you, I won't be here later, pal. That's what It'd be really helpful if anyone in here, let me know what you're looking at. What's on your chart right now? Get this party started. Bit brother. No, thank you. Just be careful of all these like penny stocks. This was brought to my attention. You know, hey, it's spiking. It should be going good. You know, but it's got to make new highs and new higher lows. New higher high, not a new higher low. Right back down to where we started before this whole thing. So don't believe the hype is a sequel. Oh, Roku. Roku, it was a great day for me yesterday. I took Roku and NVDA short, and it was nice. I gotta get in the saddle here. All right, let's take this. And peace. All right. So I'm going to leave up some charts while I go grab something to eat. I just wanted to get on board here. Leave it up on the SPY, right? I think this is what we're going to do most of the day. Keep up like that. Audio again. What is it, too low? Evan B. What's up, brother? He's my production supervisor. Too quiet. Oh, you're going to be begging you didn't say that later, man. Hold on. How do you like me now? Check one, 2, 1, 2. You gotta have fun with it, right? Perfect. Whoa. Now that's it. I have nothing else to aim for. I got a perfect. 10 out of 10. Thank you guys very much. I'll see you guys next time. Yeah, so real quick, I was planning on, I did plan. I had a whole little promotion all set up. Something happened with the email. I only found out this morning that almost all of them didn't go through. So, wah, wah. Anyway, we'll just do it old school. I never really liked promoting anyway. Just organic growth. Organic. All right, so SPY, I'm going to leave this up. I'm going to go down and get a quick bite to eat. And we'll be back. We'll be back. Let's put this up somewhere. That's too late. That's too long. I gotta make this 5 minutes. I just realized. Back in 5. Yeah. See you. And we're back. Amazon. How would you trade Amazon on the weekly using volume profile? Looks like a perfect setup with the extension. Break of structure. Let's take a look at Amazon. Now the gears are getting, I don't want to say lubed up. I will. All right, I did. So let's just shut everything off here. Yeah. So that's odd. All the action that's taking place is taking place in a gap, in a vacuum. You have high volume just below it, and a little more high volume on the top. Broke back here. Is that what you're talking about? Broke this level here. It looks like it's coming back to retest it. Let's see. Let's line it up real quick. But yeah, it's respecting the 60 here. Busted above it. Came back and tested it. That's good for if you're long on it. Let's see how this is there. This is there. This is there. All right. So I think we're coming back to test it, and we're also going to come back and test the 9 on the weekly. I like to do the moving averages actually when we're this far out. Let's go to that. The 200. Broke the 200. So anytime I see price action break the 200, you can have moving averages break other moving averages, and that could be a signal. That's fine. But I think the big signal is when the price action breaks the 200. And just easily to go look back, has never broke the 200 Amazon up until 2022. Broke it and did not like it down there. We just broke above it. Now, if we hold that, that'll be good for a long entry. But yeah, I guess I do see you. I do see what you're talking about. Lots of volume right above us. So that's going to be high resistance. If I see something and I don't like it, I'm not going to, all right, I guess I'm going to have to go up on this. Just wait. You know, you don't have to trade Amazon. I know if you like the company, just buy shares, dollar cost averaging. Every week, put $100 in. No matter if it's up, no matter if it's down. And then in 10 years, you're going to be up ahead of the game. I don't think Amazon's going anywhere anytime soon. But since we're talking about it, let's take a look at the QTA, see what the QTA has to say. First of all, let's just take a look at the trade ideas. By the way, this is QTA, otherwise known as Quant Trading App, a tool that I've come across and been heavily involved with. So we're looking at the Dow and the Meta. Dow is bullish, okay. Under trade ideas, you won't see, it doesn't just pick the best possible trades out there and post them here. It has to meet certain criteria. So this is why today you'll see two. Yesterday, I didn't check yesterday, but Friday there were none, for instance, right? All these are usually, I've never seen anything below 50% confidence on here. And it's cool because it gives you the bearish target and an alternate target. Because, I mean, that's the way I trade. I go into something, let's just go back to Amazon, right? If we were looking at Amazon and we decided right here, okay, we are bullish on Amazon. The only, thanks, Evan. Respect. Yeah, man. So the only other way to look at it is, okay, we're bullish on Amazon. All right, so then just step away, just brainwash yourself and come back thinking bearish. I believe Amazon is the worst company. I think it's going to go down. Then we find ways on where it's going to go down. And like we said, okay, we find that resistance there. We can come back, and I know we're on the daily now. We can retest the 200. We can retest the 60. Just think of bearish moves. That way you have two paths to go into, and you're kind of narrowing, or you're kind of, negating your bias. And that's really what it is. Why did I pull up? Oh yeah, I forgot. Getting back to QTA. Oh, we're slow today. Not QTA, my bandwidth, that's all. These quant levels are available 8:30 in the morning, I believe. But once the market opens, you'll really see new information. This is the chart. Obviously, I was talking about two different things at once. This is the 2-day view app. This has yesterday's information. Why is it cut off on the bottom of the screen? Shnikes. Sluggish, like a wet sponge. Again, not QTA, just my bandwidth. 135 range, right? Let's see. Sorry. That was a spy. 135. Bingo, yeah. You're spot on. Harkens way back to right there, top of the volume. And the 60. And this little mishmash, this gap over 135 down, and then a gap above that 135. Interesting level. But I think there's something better to trade today. Again, Tesla, I think we should see something. We've been ranging, which is unlike Tesla to range. So when it's ranging, I think of it like a lot of potential energy building. And it's when it just keeps going flat, all this potential energy is just building up, and we should see some type of move. And when Tesla starts moving, that's when FOMO kicks in. Tesla trades like a retail trader stock, because you'll see once it starts going in one direction, everyone piles on or jumps ship, right? So for instance, when it broke this 60 mark and this previous, we started this FOMO, everyone's getting off the ship. And then we got down to the 100 mental area. Okay, I like Tesla at 100. This is what people have been saying ever since it was at 300 or 400. I would love Tesla at 100. Okay, great. People out there selling puts for $100. I'll take Tesla at 100. If it goes down to there, perfect. If it doesn't make it, I'll collect the income. And then that's when we start the journey back up. I have no reason to say that we could stop where we are now. Why stop at 240, 241? We can definitely go higher. But is that the path? Don't know. Let's switch to the EMAs. I'm just going to let things tell me where to go. Obviously, you want to get a potential path here and there, but I'm not gonna try and force a trade. If I think Tesla's going to go up, I want to make sure that it is going to go up before I get in. I'm not going to just go on a guess or a hunch. Yeah, Evan. Oh man, I would. I was going to say something funny there. I appreciate that. First of all, thank you. But I would definitely learn from as many people as you can, because when I started actively trading back in 2020, when I say actively, I'm like all day, every day. I was trading for like the past 20 years, but I had another career. And then 2020 started me shifting over. But I would try to, I would learn from one person, and I'd have that style in my head, and that kind of clouded my judgment for other things. So I think my whole model is the more tools in a toolbox, the better carpenter you are, right? You want to build a house, you can't just use a hammer. You need a hammer, nails, screwdriver, plumb, level, whatever you want to call it. You have a lot of tools to use. So do that. Extend out. And I'm a big fan also, if it's better for the trader, it's better for the trader. It has there's no bearing, like you're a part of this group and you can't have any. That's crazy. You don't go to college and you learn psychology from the same professor the whole 4 years, right? You get different professors, you read different books written by different authors, you gather all that information, and then one day you write your own book. So I'm going off on a tangent way too early. I'm sorry. So we have 6 minutes to market open, and I have no bearing yet on my day. Some mornings are like that. Some mornings are not as prepared as others. And I definitely woke up way too early. Oh yeah, by the way, is AG1? I was not eating enough vegetables, and AG1 is the answer. Try AG1 today. Oh yeah. I can feel the super vitamins taking hold of my cells. Every time I'm reading your comment, I learned it from watching you. It was an excellent PSA commercial back in the day when the father approaches the son with drugs. Where'd you get this? How did you learn how to do this? He said, I learned it by watching you. End scene. And took that scene into school and many, many times going, making fun of that. Trader Dale and a few others, trading for 2 years now, trying to find my style still. Excellent. And you never will. You're never going to be like, found it. I always say that if you ever run into someone like, I know everything there is to know about a market, listen to me, this is all you need, run the other way. Anyone that tells you that they are the end all or everything you need to know is right here, it's a lie. It's a lie. It's either they're BSing you or they're a fool, right? They're either lying to you or they don't know better. Sorry, not sorry. I have Tesla on the screen for an ornament amount of time. It's not even the right word. Okay. All right, 4 minutes to go. I had a whole bunch of stuff prepared to show about the trade yesterday, and we'll have to probably get into that at a later date, at a later point in time. Man, talk about but it's nothing new. I'm used to everything shifting and changing at the last moment. I'm all right with that. It's getting hot in here. So Qs, SPY, NVIDIA, and Tesla, and Roku. Those are the ones, and Amazon for Evan. We're going to have Amazon up there. Microsoft, I'm going to take that off. I don't want to get confused, anything with that. Snap, maybe at a later time. Evan, you're good people, man. Good feedback from Evan. You're welcome anywhere. All right, so I'm trying to say what do I normally do for the day. So first of all, I'll bring up QTA and I'll just look at the SPY chart. This is just getting an overall image of what we're looking at. We're south of the 2-day VWAP. The 2-day VWAP is this thick white line right here. This takes into account today's and previous days VWAP instead of the regular VWAP, which just starts at 9:30, ends at 4 p.m. This uses both days. Now, also, the SPY has been ranging for the last several sessions. So we should be curious. Now, if we reach down here, and after the market opens, this is all going to change up a little bit. Oh, in fact, we can just jump over to for the SPYs and the Qs, there is the oval charts. This has much more information, much more levels. We have previous volumes, previous put blocks. But the main one you want to look at is the absolute GEX, right? This is going to be the heaviest magnet, or at least in my experience, the heaviest magnet along with max pain. The fact that these are now at the same level at 455, that's confluence. And that just means two things telling us the same thing. Although I really wanted to go to the Qs. My whole thinking is that I'm just going to be talking out loud. You know, I'm not going to be filtering any thoughts. I'm just going to just talk. And I've been told I'm okay with that. Sometimes people do funny things just to get me to stop talking. So 385 on the Qs is the absolute GEX. The max pain is up at 386. We'll see where we're open on the Qs, and then we'll have to play accordingly. I wish there was, there's got to be a way, right, to show split monitors. I should be doing that. Mouth closed, ears open. Excellent, man. But yeah, definitely pipe up. Let me hear what you have to say. I'm not just the, I'm not just a teacher. I'm a student. Well, for sure, you know. Who am I? I mean, I'm a licensed insurance agent, but I'm not a licensed financial advisor. I'm just been through so much. Been through so many different experiences. I like the Qs today. I just don't know. I like the Qs if it breaks down. All right, we're on. Let's get down to this. Oh no, it's blocking my. This is gonna be a pain in the ass. All right. So the first 10 minutes or so, I just kind of like to sit back and see where the market starts to go. A common, I guess, mistake would be people just jump in. Oh, I see Qs are falling. Let's just jump on that. This might be a good, good trade because we have this gap up. So that may not be a bad thing to do, but you kind of want to get that flushed. At least I do, right? I'm not telling you what everyone to do, but I like to see a little bit of that early morning volume or that first 10-minute volume. Just kind of shake loose what people are thinking, because all these trades are preconceived, right? These are probably orders that were placed last night to execute as soon as the market opens. So there's no real rhyme or reason behind it. Even though, okay, Q's gapped up, we should see a retracing down. Let's see if the SPY, same thing. SPY gapped up. A lot of times you'll go for the retracement, go for the gap fill. So first, we got to put ranges, right? We have ranges. Yesterday's high of the open, that would be our first traditional range. And that one's already down there. And now let's pull up the Qs on the QTA chart. This order refreshes every 5 minutes, or you can just refresh it if you want to get a quicker look at it. So we can see the range here, 389. That's the previous volume range. Also, there's the the number one call volume right above it, 390. Previous call blocks way up here. That's an outlier. If we were to reach that today, I would heavily consider. Let's not even talk about that. Let's just play this by ear. 389 and 390. Oh God, looking at the SPY. Sorry. And we have that marked off already. So what's the play, right? So if we're not going to play it right at the open, what do? Well, I wait for the first move, right? I wait for the first move of the Qs. If the Qs were to reach the top of the range right here, I would start thinking, are we going to get rejected at that level, or are we going to go even higher? That's one play. The opposite play is if we do not go our way up and we start filling this gap, well, if the gap fill is the mission would be complete right here around 380, 482, and we'll make that orange. And make this top one orange. So that's our range for the day. A break of either one would be a significant move and the other way. Obviously, a break above this, we want to see a retest for anything higher. If it does break and the retest fails, we can easily come back down to where we just started off just now. But that's really it. That's how I play the morning, because there's not, even though we just marked levels right there, there's not much from the actual day. All those levels we marked off are from either overnight or the previous day. Later in the day, we'll have our own levels that are made, and it's not that it'll be easier to trade 0 DTE, but it'll be different. NVIDIA, what is happening? So NVIDIA, I played down yesterday. I did have a trade from, where was it, Friday. Stop talking about my own personal trades. I hate that, sorry. But trade down, so we hit this 450. 450 is a major line in NVIDIA. So much so that I made it aquamarine. And that's how you know it's serious. Red line is 412. But now that we are up here, this 450 is proving to be something of importance. NVIDIA just popped. So that means the Qs is headed closer to our 389, 390 area. And if you're feeling up to it, hang on a second. Obviously, a break and a hold of this level, this is in play. And just a quick look right here, 389 is that volume range, 390 is that the call volume, the highest call volume. So that is a legitimate level. I don't I don't really particularly like to get in for a dollar move on the Qs of the SPY. I like to get in on a move where, say yesterday, where we topped off at 390 in the morning and just started tanking right down. Break of this level, that was the play into it, and we finished right down here. Similarly, it could happen again just like that. It's not going to repeat itself exactly because it's opened. Okay, again, thinking out loud. But a play up to there, and then the play would be down here. Sorry. My words will get more cohesive as the beautiful herbs of estate tea take hold. Oh, man. I gotta put some down here. It's like painfully quiet. I'll make it so you guys don't hear it though. Are you making range by high and low points? I guess so. I mean, high and low points from the day before, yeah. Usually, so for NVIDIA, the other high is already marked off up here. There was no high overnight. The low wasn't really an extreme low. I'm going to keep this low of 450. But that's really it. You just look left and find your ranges that way. And then anything break of the previous is an anomaly, and that's what we trade. Or any rejection of the previous is what's to be traded. NVIDIA's on its horse here. I gotta do something about this. Camera's right in the way there. Hang on a second. Okay, let's see this. All right, now I feel a little more comfortable. We'll get in a groove here. So we have this heavy volume right here, matched up with that traditional level. And we'll pull up. NVIDIA. So that the levels that you saw on my screen are the traditional levels, just from finding support levels, resistance levels, patterns, blah, 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 blah. Here are the quantitative levels, right? You have your max pain, 462.50, coupled with the 2-day VWAP and the, what is that, the intraday, the top of the intraday zone. This is going to be heavy resistance. A bounce here would be a nice play down to the 450 range. There's no other stopping us. Nothing's going to stop us now. And did we reject off of that? Yes, sir. All right, and we go to the options chain. We take a look. Wow, it's similar to the puts I played yesterday. And I think I missed a move. Maybe not. So the bright, hot pink line right here, this is the regular day VWAP. The 2-day VWAP that I was mentioning earlier is right above us at 462.50. Right about here. Is that the volume? Yeah, that's a volume line. Let me make that static. So now we are in a little bit of a range here between the VWAP and the 2-day VWAP, coupled with the max pain and the top of the intraday. And just for a visual, I'm going to slide this over, you can see. Get there. Right? Max pain right here, 462.50, intraday, top of the intraday range. And the 2-day VWAP coming in hot, lining up right here. This is going to be a tough level to break. If we come close to retesting this and a fail, it'll be a nice move down, or a nice possibility move down to the 451 area. U.S. Army Corps, not now. Never mind that now. All right, and since we marked this trade up, we're gonna stick with it for a while. And this is really, I've come across a lot of people who who they like to put their toes in a whole bunch of different lakes at the same time, and they're constantly monitoring the temperature of each lake and reporting back. This is not a good style. I was just speaking with someone who they get into in orbit, like an amazing amount of plays in a day, and they wanted to know how to set alerts on each one of their plays and where they should set these alerts. And I'm like, if you're in a play that's 0 DTE, you should be monitoring it. You shouldn't be in more than 3. I think 3 is the tops for 0 DTE. And you want to spread, you want to diversify. I get it, but you do want to keep it focused. There's the perfect. You want to keep focused as well as diversified. So a good rule of thumb is that 3 is the most I know I can handle, and I'm not comfortable handling 3. I only do it when I'm seeing absolutely 3 plays to take at the same time. This NVIDIA, right off the bat, I think, sometimes you come across a perfect setup. I'm not saying, to call something perfect is a stretch. But I think it's a very good setup. And so we're just going to capitalize on that. And I do understand, like Evan, you were asking, like, hey, how would you trade Amazon? And at that point, I don't think I would, because I guess I didn't do my own enough DD on it, my due diligence. I haven't a clue on where I would trade. Okay, now I kind of have an idea. If we were to trade more locally, coming up here at 147.50 is a nice resistance, maybe 148-ish, right? So that, to me, I'd be watching at 148 level for a potential ride back down. If it breaks that 148 and actually breaks that 149, I'd be watching for a break, a retest, only to go higher. So it's irresponsible to focus on just one, but it's also just as irresponsible to focus on many. So we're coming down on the 5-minute here. We're coming down to the 9 EMA, and you can see how it's flat, blinking. It's a lot of volume, a lot of things are changing hands back and forth, and a red candle just easily turns into a green one, and vice versa. So we pop down in a minute, see what's going on when I get downtown and see what's around. I've been known to pop down to the 30 seconds and the 15 seconds, and I'm not recommending it, but I was trading with someone yesterday, and I said, let's get down to the 30 seconds and see what's going on. And she said, Doc, you're already on the 15 second. I was like, holy moly. That's when you know you're desensitized. All right, how are the Qs? Okay, now the Qs are in a position where I like to jump on a potential breakdown of a level. And I'm known to look at a down move more so than an up move. It's just my nature. And you gotta know your natures, know your limits, know your favorites, and play them. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, play them accordingly. Yeah, another test of this level and a harder rejection would be even more evidence, or more my vocabulary is off today. I've got to turn the switch on. But that'd be even more of a case to go down. Or if we just fail right here, that'd be great too. That'd be great. That'd be great. So the Qs, okay, are now falling down. And there's that gap, remember? That gap all the way down to, what did we say? 384. That might be worth a shot. So what I do is I'll look on my charts to see if a potential move, and then I'll start pulling up the tools that will help me confirm or deny. Oh, I got messages. Yes, sir. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on. What we have here is the Q0DTA GEX charts, right? Here we have confluence right around the max pain, and the absolute is about 1 apart. You have 387, 386, and on the chart, the gap fill was down to 385, if I remember. So this would be a nice gravitational pull right down there, because you have the traditional charting at 385 to say there's a gap fill, and then you have the 386 and 387 both on the absolute gex and the max pain. And it looks like, according to the option chain, everyone is seeing the same thing. Because the puts are lighting up, man. The puts are lighting up. NVIDIA is falling down. I want to know what you're all thinking. I want to know if, like, who in here right now is using any type of tool to help them trade. If you're using QTA, let me know. If you're using something else, let me know. Just curious, or are we just looking at pure charting? So now we're getting a little cold on the RSI. We might have to take a little break, a little pit stop. Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. Yeah, because I don't think we'll get 155 with the weekly on a bull flag. Oh, is that about Amazon? QTA. Hey, what's up, Mitch? Yeah, definitely. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know how you use it, or any type of specific questions in it. This move on NVIDIA is looking a lot more bona fide. He's bona fide. All right, I'm gonna maybe turn the webcam back on and let's see if it. I know it's not like a thing, but I talk with my hands and everything, so it's kind of weird. Someone in my family said, "Hey, a good way to quiet Brian down is tie his hands." Oh man, that's a good stretch. Now the juices are flowing. What's also as exciting is I think I'm gonna try out the collab, the guest spot today. Oh yeah, we have to check the NVIDIA. Yeah, I'll get it together. I will get it together. No promises, but. So another cool thing, and Mitch would know this from using QTA, is that we have these live feeds. And, we have the SPY, the SPX, the Qs, the 0DTs, also the weeklies, but also a little bit of archive action here. We're going to check out the NVIDIA archive because this is something that we're actively playing. Oh, by the way, keep in mind everything that we mentioned here today, you should be considered as paper trading. This is not financial advice, as I'm not insured as a financial advisor, as I'm insured as an insurance agent, but take all this as entertainment. You know what the deal is. Can we see this? Should I make it bigger? Make it bigger, make it bigger. Now that's big enough, right? This is NVIDIA. We are right now drifting lower. We are drifting away from the absolute and max pain, mainly because of these two high negative gex. Now these are grayish blue. I'm thinking, now I'm not betting or anything, that these are going to flip to red. When they turn red, that means the negative gex overall, the net gex is negative. More net gex negative means more volatility. And the volatility is the name of the game, at least where I come from. And we'll check. There's a feed every 15 minutes, and the next one's coming up in 7 minutes. And you can go to the advanced gex page, and you can make your own charts. And we'll get into the specifics of QTA as the day gets rolling out. I'm thinking around like noon, we'll have like a little breakdown of a pure demo. But I did want to just jump on some moving action in the morning, try and catch a few moves. So the Qs are doing that little hold up right where we said, we said the RSI is getting a little too chilly. It's just crossing the freezing mark. We're going to have a hiccup there. We did. The price action came up. The RSI came up to warm up just a bit, but it didn't really get too warm. It's on a mission. And the mission ain't quitting till the mission is done. Tesla has finally broke away from that 240 level. zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. We're still making a new higher low. This green bar right here, this was a profit-taking level from, I guess, last week. But this is still in play. This profit-taking of 232. Same bat channel, same bat time. This was target 1. This was target 2. Target 2 was reached first. Obviously, now it's at the top of the trend. This is all traditionally. We can look at charting, we look at trends, levels, and then we can add confluence. We can add confirmation or negating what our theories are by using QTA. And other tools, for sure. If it helps, it helps. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on. And if you're asking yourself, man, this guy is really unprofessional, you'd be right. You'd be right. We've got to find a good position for this little camera here. This is way too close. I don't like that at all. We'll find a better one. But you are right. I am not a professional YouTuber. Sorry, but if you're here for stock trading, that I can help you with. And if you're here to give some tips, purely, I mean, feel free. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? I'm the only one here. Come on, why is it blinking? QTA, the POC works on any time, yes? The point of control, is that the same POC? There's theories that the POC works better on certain time frames, but I think it's all relative. I mean, it's all objective or subjective. I always get them mixed up. If it's your own personal viewpoint, is that subjective or is that objective? Like, again, you come for the stock trades, you stay for the grammar talk. Too much tuna. Too much tuna. Right now, someone's saying, what in the F is this guy talking about? I don't even know sometimes. It's okay. The Qs are starting to make new higher lows, but are not so much a new higher high. So this is going to be a consolidation event right here. And then I automatically just step in and start doing my drawings. And this helps for 2 reasons. Oh my God, my alarm again. Sensor's not working. Okay, that's not going to happen today. Sorry, I'm talking to an app. All right, now, from a traditional point, we have crossed over the VWAP. We are below the 9 line. The 9 line is also known as the trade line. And now we are below the, what is this, the yellow is the 60, the blue is the 21. This all is looking good for our move on NVIDIA down. And I admit it. I know it's not that I ever try to deny it, but I do look down. Maybe that's just, what I have in tune. Like I normally try to see a down move easier than an up move. But again, know where your comfort zone is. Not necessarily your strengths and weaknesses. Just know your comfort zone. If I'm more comfortable in picking out and jumping on plays that happen to go down, okay. I'll take the moniker Doc, Mr. Doom and Gloom all day. I mean, I was almost removed from a community by saying Tesla is going to go below 200 when it was at 400. You know, it just, hey, you know, I don't have to be, what do you call it, negative, but it's just, you know, what I see easier. And what's funny is, I think Bryant, who is the creator of QTA, he sees up easier. And I think that's great. When you find people that have different views than you, get to know them. And when I post stuff in any community I'm in, I'm always asking for show me what you guys think of this. And I kind of encourage people to show me something different. You know, even if you agree with what I'm posting, show me something different, you know, and then I'll take that into account. And I like that because I don't want to be in an echo chamber. You know, I don't want people just around me. Yeah, that looks good. No, I want people to say, no, I think you missed something here. That's what I love. So I know I'm flipping back between NVIDIA and the Qs only because that's the one we kind of looked at the most. I know we didn't really look at much, but we'll get into it. Let me pop on to Amazon for Captain Amazon Evan B over here. What is that video? Captain Knots. It's tying knots. Anybody need knots tied, they go to him. Anyone knows that YouTube video that I'm referencing, you're in the club. Whose chair is that? It's not my chair. Not my chair, not my problem. That's what I always say. So again, this profit-taking line, 457, we are at it right now. This is the 60. We're on the 5-minute. Let's pop over the 15, see where we are on that. And also, when people say, hey, Doc, what time frames do you trade on? I say all of them. You're like, okay, that's funny, but, you know, really, which ones do you kind of gravitate towards? Obviously, the answer is the 5 and 15. This is where you want to live, the 5 and 15. But I will cycle through all of them. And if I spend too much time down here in the trenches, I'll pop out to the 4-hour and see where we are because you don't want to get lost you don't want to lose the forest for the trees. You know, you want to kind of oversee the whole grand scheme of things. So does it make sense for NVIDIA to go down more? Sure. And just by zooming out to the daily, that makes perfect sense. You know, after this ridiculous pop-up, this has got to be fixed. I'm fully confident that for NVIDIA to go to where the heights that it wants to, this has to be addressed. This debt needs to be paid. Sound like a trailer for some movie. So this move may be done on NVIDIA. It may not be. But just consider profit-taking levels like this one right here, 457. If you were in a trade, which I know at least one person in this room is, that might be enough. Right now it's at 12 11, 12%. Consider taking profit. And my only advice I could give on if you're going to walk away with one thing, and I'll probably say this 50 times today, if you're going to walk away with just one thing, walk away with the idea of, instead of setting goals for your day, try and set limits, like risk limits. So instead of saying, you know what, today I'm going to make $300. Every day I'm going to make $300. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. You're going to make what the market gives you. The market doesn't give a hoot. Doesn't give a hoot about your goals. But if you go into it with a risk limit and you get $500 out of it, okay, great. You got 500. You get 50 out of it. That's it. It's 50. That's what you're going to get. The next day, you do it again. And then you take a sample size of a month or at least a week. How'd you do in the week? How'd you do on last month? You take a big sample size. You don't take, I want to trade consistently. Okay, that's great, but consistency is not going to be day to day. You're not going to have a consistent $300 day every day. It's impossible. Even computers. Because remember, computers are programmed by humans. So even though they're removing the human element from it, it's still trading on a human-based market. So even the computers can only take what the market gives it. You can't force more juice out of a lemon than it has in it. That's a good one. That's going in the book. Okay, power through. Power through. I need some background music. My mind is gonna like implode. I keep saying that. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Oh yeah, I have a whole folder for YouTube Live. This would have been helpful. All my links, everything is right here. How did I? That's fine. Got to keep it moving full stream. I like what I did there. All right. So, copyright-free music. What do we have today? Let's flip back to the cues. All right, the cues, instead of just rushing to fill that gap, we've kind of held on to this level right here. So I'm going to mark that off because now the cues are telling us live where it found support. And it was right there. And that's some serious support. Look at that. Mwah! See you later. Bye. And it ran off. So we marked that. We're going to have that later in the day. And we'll make it orange because today's day orange. And it makes sense. This is the popular level going back. Not that trend day down. Found some contention 2 days prior. So guess what? That's on the books again. NVDA, let's see where that's held up. That was also the profit-taking level from yesterday. This downtrend yesterday was a dream. Speaking of someone that likes the down, and I, looking backward, like, oh yeah, I would love if I just got in right off the bat. But I didn't even get in here. I waited for this level to break. This was a QTA level that I marked off on the chart, and that's where you get in. You don't have to jump in at the perfect point to get in. Everyone wants the top ticket. You can't. In fact, you'll lose more often than not if you try to top tick things. Hey-o! Mr. Trading Lit. So everyone's got those questions for Bryant? Fire them away right now. This is going to be fun. I'm going to try. I'm going to send you a link, Bryant, whenever you feel cozy enough, you're going to try this out. This would be if I'm going to be pretty surprised if this works in the first time, but I'm also not, because I'm intending everything to work perfectly. I'm going to put this up in our Discord. Whoa, that won't work. Privatize. Now, probably need my speakers on. Okay, NVIDIA. All right, let's pull up the QTA. NVIDIA has turned around at that profit-taking level from yesterday. And this is an old one, so we're going to pull up the feed real quick. Everything's so slow. I'm sorry, guys. It's my bandwidth. It's not you. It's me. So here, remember I was saying that this, the navy, the blue, I was thinking, I wasn't predicting that it was going to flip to net GEX negative. It has. And also our absolute GEX has now traveled down to 455, which is nice because that's the way we had it flowing from the beginning. Oh, it was already net GEX. Okay, never mind. But this is interesting development. Now the absolute GEX does move throughout the day. The max pain is static. This is the just what the theory of max pain is. What is it now? It's the place where the calls and puts have the least intrinsic value. You'd think that this is my first rodeo, but it's just getting warmed up. So I like this is looking good now. We have a new higher GEX at the 450, which is right in between the area. I had a 452 paper trading. Everything's paper trading. Remember that. Do your own due diligence and take this as entertainment. We'll get it. We'll get it. Get it together. See what's happening. Oh, no. Okay. I'm going to adjust a couple things, Bryant, and see if... Okay, I have you here. Can you see me now? Can you see the everything what's going on now? Would it have been better for me to do a dry run on this? Sure, but it would not have been just as fun. I'm gonna just leave this black box open here because I think that might have something to do with the volume's up. You are connected. Assigned to the source. Yes. Okay, NVIDIA really taking off from that profit-taking zone. Oh, the audio stream current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. We recommend you that you open. Okay. It would not be a day if there was not issues. Like I tell the nurses in the hospital, like when they're doing something painful and I just start laughing, they're like, what? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, well, if I didn't laugh at pain, my life would never be funny. And they're like, wow, that's incredibly morbid, but slightly funny. And that's where I kind of live, morbid but funny. Are you seeing it now, Brian? Oh, this is what you see on Streamlabs when I click the link. Oy, oy, oy. That should not be. All right, let me try the link again here. Generate a new link. The webcam and microphone source you select below would be broadcast to your guests. Okay. Get it together. All right, we'll try this again. Then it'll be a party. I blame supply chain issues. It's the supply chain. That's where the problem is. Now the cues. Ooh. It's going up to that 390, huh? That we looked up before market, the 389 and 390 on the QTA, the Quant. That's a possibility. Possible. Impossible. Now remember, earlier I was saying if NVIDIA had touched or attempted again at this top marker and made a new higher low, that would be interesting for more down. I'm glad, Brian, you're taking this. You're sort of similar with that. That's cool. I know some other people have been like, that's it, garbage. Terrible. I'm out. So I have the collab cam, the link, the source, share video. Oh, okay. Ah, try it again, Brian. I think I have found where the video source should have been coming in. Look at me trying to sound all technical. What had happened was, you realize nothing, no good story ever comes after what you see. What had happened was, it's just the person's mind inventing something. I don't know what else to do here. Let's see. Sharing collab cam, sharing source. Hey, okay. I see Bryant there. Show on stream. Oh. Collab cam has its own audio. But that's still not good if you can't see it. We got to work on our communication. I give kudos to everyone that's here right now. You guys are the real heroes. What if we been around the world and I. Padow. There's me. There's me. So, things to do. Me and Bryant will work on the collab cam. Looks like this now. Jeez, what an improvement. We have 3. Oh, you gotta have fun. Oh, now we have 3 little boxes. All right. I don't know. Collab cam is up. What if, okay, maybe, hang on a second. Let's turn, just see there. I don't like having the window in the back. Oh, now my laptop's in there. Oh, almost there. Perfect, that's fine enough. So, okay, now the video is on. Maybe that had something to do with the sharing. This is terrible. Anyway, NVIDIA is making a new high or low, right? A new lower high, sorry. I closed out of it, okay. Gosh, dang it. I'm tempted just to open a Zoom link and send it to you. Would that really kill the bandwidth, though? You don't know until you try. Be our guest, as we figure out this mess. We'll get there. I'm not sure how this would work, though. God dang. I can't think of what else it had the. I've had it before. It worked. I was interviewed or maybe that was through. Maybe that was OBS. Hang on, I'll troubleshoot it, Brian. We'll get it. But I don't want to miss the whole idea. Hey, Tesla Theta, what's going on, brother? Tesla, right. It was at the top of the trend, and we were expecting either a break above or break down, basically. If we shut off my high beams, you could just see it, right? Slope down. We had a double touch on the top of the trend. Usually that means either, okay, we're going to punch through to the top, come back, retest, and go higher, or come back down, stay within trend. That's what's happening. That's what's happening in the world of Tesla today. And you can easily see the path downward is there. We took this measured from the previous degrees of the trajectory. This is pretty much an average of it. This was a possibility coming off of right there. Things don't always work out the way you want them to. And I'm trying to rack my brain what else it could be that the link isn't showing through on your end. So break of 247 not happening soon. Well, you know, with Tesla, you don't know. Like I was just saying earlier that it's big on a FOMO. It's a big FOMO hopping trainable thing. Like in other words, if Tesla starts moving in a certain way, if we have a breakout, you'll see people pile on, and it will go a lot higher. If it just gets rejected and starts coming back down, people then will jump ship. That's just my theory. It's nothing you're going to write down in stone. But by the end of this week, we should see a move either up or down, because we have been in this same rising range. You know, people will say, oh, this is ranging, it's not going anywhere. But it is. You know, if you played Tesla along with the levels, you could play it up, you could play it down. But now we need to make a directional move here. You agree? Cool. This is Tesla Theta, big contributor in QTA. Obviously likes one stock, and that stock is DocuSign. No, it's Tesla. No surprises there. NVDA is making the 460s now. What am I going to do about the collab? I have to just search for it and search for a troubleshooter. Long time in shop, absolutely. Yeah, Tesla is one of those things. If you see a range happening, you can scalp it. You scalp the bejesus out of it. We were playing the 60 on a couple of moves yesterday, and I made it yellow just because Tesla likes certain levels, and I find that the 60 is something Tesla likes. All right, now I'm really going to troubleshoot the Streamlabs collab. Hey, Streamlabs collab cam not working. So someone else has been down this road. Here are some things you can try. Check for duplicate webcam sources. Check your guest source. Make sure your guest source is set to show on stream. Yes, if it isn't, the audio and video won't be sent to your Streamlabs desktop audio. That's the problem, but I checked it. Make sure the webcam isn't active anywhere else in your stream. On your system, remove any duplicate webcam sources from the current scene. Other scenes. Also close any other software that may have the end. Okay. All right, this is useful. Where should we go? I'm going to pop this on. Been around the world and I can't figure out collab cam. All right, I'm going to check through these sources here. That's good. Check, check. Hey, does anyone want a production assistant role here at trying to think of a funny enterprise name. But the top of that is no pay but experience. All right, I'm going to shut all sources. Shut. Collab cam is on. Okay. We may have to blast. Cough button. All right, Brian, if you're still here, try that first link again, because I think by generating a new link, it didn't kill the old one. It just generated a new one. So in case we wanted to have a party line here, that way to do it. So all the sources are off. Collab is on. Now we'll figure out your audio once you get connected. What are your options underneath there? Oh, you don't see anything. That's the problem. So I realized on the second link, the second screenshot you shared, there's two of me, or two potentials of me. Or maybe one's my screen. Oh my God. It seems so easy in the manual. I'm watching Tesla Theta. Dope. Everyone hold your breath. Pretend like you're getting an MRI. Hold your breath. Breathe. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there. Absolute Gex was a fluke that it popped down to that 455 on NVIDIA. I blame supply chain issues, for sure. When in doubt, supply chain issues. SPY is going up to that level that we were just talking about earlier. What was it, 458? Speaking of, this is a nice range that we're in. And once we get the collaboration set squared away, we can dive into exactly using the tools with precision. I mean, I'm not. Let's see what the update is. Oh man. Okay, wait. You tried talking or couldn't? Okay, let's examine that. We'll go down. That's the important part. Volume is cranked. Collab cam, Bryant. Yep. Show on stream. Hang on. There you go. Yes, sir. Oh my. Okay. Yeah. I'll work on the settings. You can see it. Yeah. I'm diving into the settings on this. Okay. I'm gonna tinker around with the settings in here. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's a acquired humor. If you can either categorize it as humor. It comes from a time where like I had so many people in a room and I just had to fill the gaps of boringness, so I just started talking ridiculous. But I'm glad that you can appreciate it. Yeah, we were looking at. I'll pull it over. We were looking at the. Well, that's private messages. Let's keep that private. Q0DTE, and I think one of the one of the things was someone asked. I don't think it was on this stream, but how would you use the 0DTE with the Gex as with the weekly? Obviously, the weekly is a weekly shot, but do you ever use them as confluence when in a momentum trade? Does that make sense? Like, gotcha. Yeah, that was just a random question that I thought maybe would spark it off the difference between them. But that's an important part to realize is that a lot of these levels can be imported. And I'm using Webull here, and I know that it doesn't really sit well with the QTA framework. But TradingView and TOS, we can import levels into them. And that's what I think Bryant was referring to, right? The weeklies are already on your chart. Yeah, speaking of that, I was mapping out, and I'm pulling up my trading view, but all I'm getting is this spinning wheel for like the last 15 minutes. But I've made templates on it, and there's a great video, by the way, if anyone hasn't watched it yet, on using those levels. And I think you mentioned, like, yeah, it's just take the extra 15, 30 minutes on a Sunday night when the levels come out, and you post them up, and it would just make everything just that much more easier. And regarding those levels, there were you were just going through like the importance of each one. Talk about like the gamma. I'm sorry, the flip, right? The gray one. How is that played? Just like the max pain, was it more of like just a support and resistance, or is it a goal?
First and foremost, they're all just support and resistance levels, especially the gamma flip. That's all it's letting us know is, again, if price hits below it, it just means expect a little bit more volatility. You know, bears are going to feel a little bit more confident. That's bears come out when the market is volatile. Market's not volatile right now. You can see like sell-offs are not really, they don't have any follow. The VIX is super low. Implied volatility is very low. There is some volatility where above that G split strike, but if spot was to start closing below that G split strike, then yeah, it can imply that we're going to experience a little bit more downside, but that's a byproduct of increased volatility. When the market's more volatile, you tend to trade more puts, and it's the purchasing and the selling of the puts that contribute to a lot more volatility. So the gamma flip is just letting us know at this level, bulls are, they're really going to want to defend that area because they know what it means. If we get below it, we might have some turbulence. And bulls want a nice, steady, uptrending market. They don't want an explosive move to the upside either. They just want a nice kind of a price action and pattern forecasting. So maybe this is the ideal scenario for a bull. And when I mean bull, I don't mean, a retail trader. I'm talking about larger investors, someone that has a lot of money in the S&P 500 and they're trying to sell calls because they're trying to, increase their annual yield on their dividends. So if they're holding 1 million shares of Apple, they want to be able to sell 1,000 calls.
Right.
And if they're going to sell 1,000 calls and the market blasts them to the upside 5% every week, that's not great for them either. So they want prices to continue to move steadily up, but not kind of too much. And then obviously they want to use those calls, the premium reflected in the calls to purchase puts after trades. And the objective is to keep their cost basis low and to not waste too much money on insurance. And it's harder to not waste money on insurance if the market is volatile. So therefore, that's that gamma flip strike. If the market dips below that gamma flip strike, it's kind of that moment where we're like, oh crap, price and insurance is about to go up.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, therefore, no one really wants that. So that's why it goes back. Like the reasoning behind why it acts as a support is it's so much more. We could probably do a 30-minute seminar on why. But at the end of the day, it doesn't. I'm at the point where a lot of people that I'm training anymore just it acts as support and resistance and keep it at that. You can read all the paperwork, read all the thesis statements on the gamma flip level, but at the end of the day, it just acts as support and resistance. That's it.
That's it. No other special. No, I'm just saying. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I was just kind of talking about when you notice how net negative. I mean, net gegs turns negative, and that increases the volatility. That necessarily doesn't mean that it's going to go down. It just means that the market makers are exposed to the negative side, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, is that harder for the market makers to hedge to the downside than it is to the upside?
By harder, nothing's really harder. It just probably means they have to pay more in electricity bills. It just means their algorithms or machines are firing more. They're executing more. The same thing like the crash, the black swan of 2020. Yeah, their machines worked a little bit harder, but it was an extremely popular crop year. If you've been listening to any podcasts, if you've listened to anybody that was a market maker from that year, they'll tell you it was a great year for market makers because commissions, so many money was made in commissions because of increased volatility for a whole wave of
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. The retail side will have to work a little harder.
Yeah. To them, probably doing a little overtime here and there just to make sure their servers are not crashing and their electricity is fine, their AC units are pumping cool enough to keep the machines from overheating. But for the most part, it's amazing for them. Either way, the market maker is good. Either a proper market maker is not affected overall. It's just how much are they going to make? Are they going to make alpha for
Right.
the year, or are they going to make two, three, four times it?
Yeah. Is it going to be a porterhouse steak or a T-bone? It's not going to be.
Exactly.
There's a great. I'll pull it up. I'm talking about. There's a great chart, not a chart, but a meme, I guess it was, of. I should probably just find it just before it. But it has, a symmetrical triangle, and one side going up and the other side going down, and then that would determine what people would have. Hang on, let me just get it. Don't have it. Never mind. It was from an age-old time, but it was a symmetrical triangle, and at one point it goes up, and you see a picture of Lamborghini up here, and then one going down, it's a picture of McDonald's down there, and what it tried to explain was like how to teach, when something comes to a point, like traditional charting, we're going back to, and if it comes to a point, it could break up, break down, but with the market makers, they're prepared both ways because they're hedging, right? They're constantly planning out which both ways they don't want to lose. They always trying to make money. And just how much are they going to make? Is that
Yeah,
fair to what you're saying?
and the other thing being that they're not looking at things like the way they're not saying, oh, we have to make money every single day like most people try to approach the market. I think
Yes.
another significance with using the gamma portfolio is just it's not natural or normal for the market to be in negative net ex gamma. That's the thing we're taking, which means if you're below, it's kind of like this. It's like if you're treading water, it's not natural for a human being to be beneath, put their head above water for a certain period of time. It's the same thing with the gamma portfolio. That's the surface level of the ocean. If price is not going to stay below it for too long, otherwise it's going to die, but the market won't die. If the market is dead, then the whole world's going to be dead. So if price is below that certain level, so I get excited whenever we're below gamma levels, which again, that's the first half of November. That's when we were below that gamma portfolio. That's when the net index was super negative. Whenever those levels hit, I'm the most bullish when everything is extremely ridiculous. On the downside because it's not natural. The market will not remain. It doesn't matter. The worst state of what the world has probably experienced was 2020. That was worse than what we had.
And and when you look at it, I'll pull it up. It's really like you said. If that's the worst that we got, that wasn't that bad.
Exactly.
Even on the weekly, it might be a better shot. I'll shut off everything here.
It felt bad in the moment, yes. Don't get me wrong, but if we're doing it, everyone's gonna feel bad. If the market's down for 3 days in a row, everybody feels bad.
Right? Yeah, it seems like that's it. The world's ending, but in reality, I mean, that if you look at it on the week, it was like just over a month of down, and then that sharp V bottom, and then we were just right on track again. It's like it was just a blip on the radar.
Exactly. And when you 15 years from now, that you won't even be able to see that. You won't even be able to see it. You'll have admit to it. It won't matter. But the thing to take away is that's when the market dips below the net negative index. That's when the gamma curve is very negative. That's when everything looked like the world was going to end. And it was the same thing at the start of November last month. That's when we had the biggest rally in 15 years in the net income perspective. The market has not, I couldn't find, there hasn't been another
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Where's my man, Evan? Evan, you're supposed to be on the audio there. Oh, okay, Ingrid. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, you're supposed to be hearing Brian. This kind of sucks now. Oh my gosh. We should have definitely, yeah, we should have definitely did a dry run. I blame myself. Let's see. I think you know what would be a fantastic. I think going forward is having like a scheduled like a half an hour session, maybe you and me, and just like I'll fire off some questions like you ever see those infomercials like late at night and it's like a totally not at all. Oh God, failure on all levels. I'm so sorry. You know what though? This is recorded, so at least I have it. I can figure out a way to get it on. But this was a lot of mistakes. It's not even mistakes. I mean, it should be happening. It's collab cam. Everything's on. Oh God. But I definitely, you know, like the infomercials late at night, and there's like a host, and the other person is getting asked questions that are on everyone's mind, right? Does that make sense? I think we definitely have to schedule that. I think live. There's so much information that I think a lot of people want to know, and to get you in a room for 30 minutes or so with actual working equipment, that might be the jump point right there. For crying out loud. Yeah. That's true. Maybe that would be for the future. Crying out loud. I'm looking at the audio. Your audio is up on my end. It's just as high as mine, and they're both coming through on the live. You know, the control room side of it. I don't understand why. Oh man. Yeah, it's keep calm. Everything seems to be on here. I'm literally at a loss for words. I have the troubleshooting up here, and I'm checking off everyone, and I checked it all off. Check your guest source. To me, that's the only thing I can. What's interesting to me is when your audio started coming through, it came off on my auxiliary speakers and not my main ones. But that shouldn't be a problem. It's only on my end. I feel terrible. I almost imagine like when Seinfeld was like a show with live audience, and people pay the tickets and they go to see it, and then they see it behind the scenes, and they're like, wait, it's not a real apartment. What do you mean? It isn't, it's like a stage. It doesn't seem the same. You go home and watch it on the show now. Oh. That's true. Yeah, that's that's where it should be, right? Crying out loud. Make sure this webcam is off. Anything on their system? Yeah. Close any other software that may have ended the webcam. Yes. Throttling the settings and adjusting them to your line. Oh. Okay, now I know it's not just me because there's a whole Reddit stream just about Streamlabs collab cam won't work and why. No, no guest audio collab cam. Here we go. So first thing, make sure the audio guest is slid all the way to the right extent of the meter. Okay, we can do that. Yep, you are. Whoa. All right, that level is cranked, and now they want me to sign in just to. Okay. Check audio monitoring of collab cam source. Oh, okay, this is kind of making sense. Audio monitoring of collab. Make sure, try setting it to monitor an output. To get the setting, you can click the gear icon on the right. Okay, we'll get there. Properties. Monitor and output. Ooh.
How about now? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Mic check.
Can anyone hear? Bryant is asking if anyone can hear him. So that would be first. Then we have to wait for the delay.
Mic check, mic check.
1 2 1 2. Yes. Mitch says yes.
Oh, amazing. Great.
I am the smartest man alive. That's totally not true. That's a Homer quote. So basically what Brian was saying, he was giving the keys to the world peace. You guys missed it. Oh, man.
Cure for cancer, everything. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Want to hear a recap of that?
Yeah, I guess you can just react to questions and I can summarize them again, but happy that you guys can finally hear me at least.
Yeah. Very clear. Oh, wow. What an improvement from nothing to very clear. That's perfect. Not even
Amazing.
like, yeah, I can kind of hear you.
No.
That's all right. I had there's a patron, I guess you'd say, Evan B. He was in here this morning. He was like, yep, your audio again is off, Doc. I was like, oh, my God. But so we were talking about the net, what is it? The Gex flip and how that could be
Yeah, we thank you. I don't remember where we started before that, but I know that's where we left off at, where you were just asking some of the questions regarding the gamma flip strike, and my main answer, or the main takeaway, is you treat it as any other major support and resistance level. It's not meant to be something that you think deeper into it, but then was trying to provide some context into a deeper reasoning as to why it works the way it works. But for all extensive purposes, you just think of it as a strong support level. And we were just reflecting back on 2020. And
yeah, I don't know if we can recover everything. We should really like get prepared. Like I'll have some questions and do all other. I mean, man, talk about would have, should have, could have. Definitely, I should have given you a call beforehand. My fault. But so I guess the whole idea was to try and like figure out how to use the QTA and the Gex through a live day of trading. And why is the Discord not working? Can't get this going. Can't get that going. Trading View, I gave up on that. I couldn't pull up the Trading View while I was sharing. And I think going forward, maybe the YouTube Live might have to rethink that. Like you said, Discord is a lot easier to do for that purposes. But I really wanted to show, I guess, how to use QTA on a 0 DTE day, or for possibilities of that. But I think where I think a lot of people are, I guess, more in tune is when you post your stuff in like income spreads and option spreads, and you normally go like a week, no, not a week, like 2 weeks out or a month or even 2 months out.
I
Is that fair?
go, yeah, I go where the opportunity is. Like at any
Right.
given moment, I might have 6 or 7 even if SPX trades running. Like today, yesterday I had some 1 DTEs. As we've been talking, I opened up a 0 DT iron condor. I have a ton of positions that expire tomorrow. I have some positions in the SPX that expire next week Friday. I shared them in the option spreads, like a couple different types of calendars, double calendars for tomorrow and for next week Friday. And then yesterday I had some strangles for the SPY. I also had a strangle and a straddle because again, I don't try to I'm not sure which one is going to work better. So I grab both. All I know is I know what my risk is and I define my risk for myself and then I'll run them both. And then at the same time, if I don't see the opportunity, then I'd rather be patient. And when there's a lot of opportunity, again, at the start of November, I used more than half of my net worth being long.
Whoa.
and and I went across the board on all sorts of different spreads and expirations and everything. So if the opportunity is there, then I'll hit it hard and mixing a bunch of different types of positions. So it's the same thing. Like this week, I had expirations that expired for if in the QTA Discord on the option spreads channel. If you just scroll right up, I think yeah, if you could pull that up on the screen here, and I'll show an example of my thoughts. So it's not really traditionally conventional, but the trading decision for me is just understanding. It's just about risk. If the risk is really high in a 3 week out iron butterfly, then I'm not going to run it. If the risk is pretty low on a 0 DT, then I'll run it. To me, it's more so where is the risk. So yesterday around 2:30 Eastern time. So yeah, right around there. You that post there, you just scroll up a little bit.
Up. A little more.
A little bit. That's today. So yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Oh, I thought it was yesterday.
A little bit more. Yep. Yeah. There you go. A little bit. Yep. Right there. So you scroll down. It's like this. So it's earlier this week. That's what I shared for that. Yeah. You can click that one right there. Yep. That one. The double. Yep. That one.
Okay.
So that was there to start. That was opened on the 4th, which was Monday. So I'm starting off the week, and my thought process is, hey, the market's probably going to head towards these major gamma strikes, so 460 or 450. I don't know which way because directionally, to me, especially at the start of the week, there's no edge. We gapped back down on Monday to pretty much where we were on Friday's open. And we were in the middle of last week's range. So to me, there isn't really much of an edge, but at the same time, I want to participate in the market. So what I do is I grab a 2 DTE butterflies in both directions. That's not really something that's not something you're going to be taught or think. It's just, to me, what just makes sense. The risk is really low. I was like, for $350 in a 2 DTE spread, I put $1.80 in the call side and $1.75 in the put side. And let's see if we get some volatility. If the market moves in any direction, then I know I'm going to add up. If I'm risking $350, all it would have taken was a 1% move in any direction, and their opportunity was to be up at least $1,000 per one of these that I purchased. So that's just great risk reward. The next step, then, I'm going to ask myself, hey, what happens if the market doesn't move? I don't want to just lose $350. So then I'm like, okay, let's grab another spread for the day right after. So this is now today's expiration. So that trade we were looking at before was yesterday's expiration, Wednesday. This one was for today's expiration. So if the market went nowhere, I'm like, hey, for $525 per iron butterfly, if the market moves nowhere, this can pay for the cost of the other trade. But if the market did make a move, this trade probably would have been down about $300, whereas those butterflies would have been up 1,000. So I end up making $700. And what ended up happening is the market didn't move. So then I didn't lose any money. It ended up being, this completely went to zero. It expired worthless. And the other trade actually ended up making a net positive gain of about 20 bucks. So it didn't cost anything. And then if you scroll down in the back on the QTA Discord, if we that's just sharing on Monday. When I opened them, I was just thinking we were heading to either one of those gamma strikes, the risk profile, and then I just said unbelievable because that trade ended up actually working. I couldn't believe that it didn't go anywhere because
Right.
I wasn't banking on us not going anywhere. That was a trade that I approached that trade from a risk management standpoint. To me, it was too risky to just burn $350. If I'm grabbing 3 of those other trades, that's 900 and almost $1,000. I don't want to just throw away $1,000. Yeah, I think the market's going to make a move, but I was completely wrong. The market didn't make a move. So it's like I got paid for not being right. And that's a lot of the time how I'm trying to approach. So this is an opportunity where the only way I would have been able to actually execute on these types of trades would have been with 2 DTE, 3 DTE trades. And then at the same time, if we continue to scroll within Discord,
Yeah.
this is so this is last minute. I grab a couple of those. That's my strangle and a straddle for the SPY. And then these right here. So I have some weekly double calendars that expire tomorrow. I know I like to use about, say, for example, 10 grand on calendars, across the board. That's usually what I allocate for calendars. I didn't know which one was going to perform better. Do I go with the Friday expiration? So that's what the one you're looking at right now. Or do I go with next week Friday expiration? I wasn't sure which one performed better because calendars are sensitive to implied volatility changes, and next week is, I believe, a scheduled CPI report. So I don't know what the market's going to do. I can't predict anything. I have no idea. So what do? I grab both, and then I'm showing the next week isn't really performing that well, but the weekly is performing well. So I bought 6 of each. It brought me up to the size that I like. Again, I like to keep around 10 grand for calendars. So I just broke up the risk between both expirations. So now I started off the week, and this was all open on Monday. That's what I like to call sometimes I go shopping. I just start purchasing a bunch of different things, and all I'm doing is managing my risk accordingly. I have some sort of bias, but my bias has been wrong. My bias was that we were going to move towards 4,600. We haven't hit 4,600 on the SPX yet. We came close to it yesterday. I thought we were either going to go to 4,600 or we are going to go to 4,500. So the reflection of my bias is in these positions. The expirations, the DTEs, none of that really matters to me. It's just I'm just looking at allocating risk in places that I think will work. And if they don't, how do I not lose? That's the ultimate goal. Can you keep your cost basis as close to zero? Can you keep your risk as close to zero as possible and put yourself in the possibility or the probability to make some sort of money? All I knew is the gamma profile was just showing 460 and 4,500, and I know where the gamma flip level is, and then I know where the market's supposed to be choppy. That's what's shared if you check out Brian's notes there, the other tab on the Discord, right on top of the option spreads, on top of the gold chat, Brian's notes. As they start, then scroll down to the post.
The GEX?
Yep, and that one right there. Yep, you click that one right there. The one on top of it, where I actually draw the levels. Because again, data, I don't like. People might not be able to read or understand that, but I just put it on the chart. Again, it's not as complicated as people make it seem. That right there you go. Those are the levels, and I know if we just scroll over to the right, so we can see the to the right, so we can see the prices.
There we go.
There we go. So I see 460. 460 is P1. That's also the highest positive gamma. And then I look at the chart and I see a lot of negative gamma down at 454. So that's why I marked it as N1. And then at the same time, the negative gamma tends to stop at 450. So there we go. I'm like, I got my levels in, and I know around 455, market's going to be choppy. If we look at a live chart, the market's been choppy around that blue area that I drew. So I know there is no real edge in that blue area. Therefore, I don't want to be participating in trying to, be aggressive in any type of direction. And the market has been trading, in a sense, accordingly. But on Monday, that's the only information I know. And as I'm looking at the chart, and I'm just assessed. So next week, I'm probably not going to run 3 DTEs and 2 DTEs. I might only be in a 45 DT. I'm not sure yet. Next week is the CPI report, and it isn't really something that this is what I'm going to do every single time. I know around CPI reports, I'll probably run a 14 DTE strangle. And I'll probably run a really narrow iron butterfly, and I'll just weigh the risk reward. If the market goes nowhere and we pin that iron butterfly for about $400, it probably has the opportunity to make $2,000. If the market goes nowhere in the 14 DTE straddle, it's probably going to be down about 15%. So whatever that 15% is, I want to make sure that the iron butterfly can pay for it. If the market does make a big move, I know I'm going to get at least 25 to 30% on that straddle. So I want to make sure that whatever that 30% is, that 30% better be more than how much I'll be down on the iron butterfly, because the 1 DTE iron butterfly, I'm mixing a 1 DTE with the 14 DTE, or I might mix a 3 DTE iron butterfly or iron condor with the 1D. It's all over the place. So that's an elaborated, I guess. It's just when you get to the point where you understand all these different types of spreads, it's not so like this is exactly what I do or this is how I do. It's just where's the opportunity, what's the information showing us, and how can I put myself in a situation where my risk is as low as comfortably possible.
So essentially, what what you've done is you wanted to get protection for volatility. You had the let's back up. You had this one here for a 1% move either way. You were covered for a volatile market.
This one, yeah.
Yeah. See, I also realized that you're on a delay, so my words might take like up to 5 seconds to see it. So as I'm going to click on it and then take a few seconds to do it. So if there was no volatility, you had this iron butterfly in place, and this was on the SPX.
Correct.
Right. So that was the SPX there. So you covered all your bases essentially.
Exactly.
And a lot of people say, "Oh, which way is it? Is the market? The coin flip there? Is we're going to go up today? Or we're going to go down?" But sometimes you don't need to, right? And that's where non-directional ranges come in with the iron condors and the iron butterflies. And I've noticed you've gotten into. I think I picked up on what you're doing is the butterfly, the broken wing butterfly, which is essentially an iron butterfly but with the direction attached to it.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be an iron butterfly. It could just be what's called like a long call or long put butterfly. You just buying a butterfly with all calls, and then you're just pulling in one of the long strikes to eliminate risk on any particular side. So in other words, next year I plan on running those every day that I think I have some sort of directional edge. I mean, a large part of what's coming to QTA next year too is there's a 0DT algorithm that's under development just to provide some sort of a directional edge if there is one with a notification of it with after 10 a.m. It can cross analyze every day for the past 365 days. And if it finds all the criteria that matches the day that ended up trending, it'll say, this is a day where just the same way, like we get the report right now in the gold chat or even in the QTA alerts where it just says, the market 71.1% of the sectors at 11 a.m. are green. So it's more likely to continue trending as it let us know that. It's similar to something like on days like this, if all sectors are 100% green, the market doesn't turn red on those days. Like it can look back and look at that's just the development of an algorithm. Like, hey, look at the past 5 years worth of data every single day, and look at every day all the sectors were green. How many of those days did the market close lower than the open? And then if you find out only 10% of the time does it close lower than it opens, if 100% of the sectors are green, then congratulations, you have yourself some sort of an edge. So it's something like that where I can run a broken wing butterfly 0 DTE because theta isn't a problem. What kills most 0 DT traders is that theta. Like you can be right on direction and still make money because you bought an out the money call, and it closed above where you thought it was going to close, but if it didn't close far enough, you're in trouble. But if you run a broken wing butterfly, that doesn't matter to you. The market can stay sideways and move up. Maybe the SPX can move up five points, which is not even a 0.01%, I think, of the SPX, and you can still be green.
Yeah.
And that's the edge that I like. So the broken wing butterflies, they're just very flexible, and they allow you to eliminate your theta risk, but still get a juicy directional trade.
And I also just realized that I hit record. So from the last minute on, we'll have a little you know, something to work with and maybe polish up and make a video out of it or something like that. But the one thing that I like to bring up, because a lot of people want to know, all right, especially new to QTA, oh, okay, I understand it's a tool, but they want something like trade ideas, right? They're looking for it. And the way I describe it, and definitely correct me because I'm probably going to be wrong, is they're not here every day. And because they have to meet a certain criteria. And when that criteria is met, then it pops up here. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and it was mostly for the end of the week because the biggest edge I think we have is the end of the week. There's a reason, again, in my opinion, day trading, anything can happen intraday. It's complete nonsense. The market could be up 3% today, and then by Friday, it's only up, 1% for the week because it might retrace back. And there's all sorts of fluke stuff that can happen intraday. But on a larger, it's the same thing like, on a larger sample set, like a weekly or a monthly, there are certain parameters that they could be. One of the very popular ones is you can look back, I don't know, 20 years, and how often has the market been down 3 months in a row. You can't. It's such a small number, so that fourth month is expected to be a huge rally. That was our November. November was that huge rally. It's very, because the sample set, you have to look at maybe 40 years worth of information, and you might only see maybe 5 instances of that. But when you enter the zero DTE land, the market's changing all the time. We have these zero DTE expirations now. We didn't have those 3 years ago every single day on the SPX. That already has changed zero DTE. So it's when you're the trade ideas that's within QTA, it's programmed around, it's analyzing the entire week's worth of information. So it's on a Monday or Tuesday, there isn't really much. It's kind of like as soon as the market opens, it's a 50-50 toss up. You don't have that much information, but if you wait an hour after the market has opened, you can kind of tell like if the market's going to close red on the day or not.
That's a good analogy, and I've always used that a Wednesday is almost like the lunchtime of intraday. You have a lot of action sometimes in the beginning of a week, and then towards the end of the week, you have more data to make a decision at the end of the week.
Exactly. So that's the trades. However, though, the trade ideas for, I think it was 2021, was amazing. I personally I think after Q2 of 2022, I don't reference or trade any of the strategies. They were fun in 2021 because the accuracy was so high. That's when I was on mic as every Friday was fun because just when I didn't have to think. I just, whatever it said, we would all just throw some calls or puts at it and let it play itself out. And that's how it worked. But then something changed in the bear market, and it's not, now you actually have to think. And the whole point of it was to create something that you didn't really have to think about. It's just like, I just wanted on a Friday. If I was up in the week, I just wanted to be like, hey, I'm up, $1,000 in the week. I want to just go put $200 in some zero DTE Friday expiration options and just see what happens. And more times than not, it worked out on Friday. So Friday was like the thinking, or the heavy thinking, really was Monday to Thursday of trading, and Friday was just like, I'm just gonna do whatever QTA says. Personally, it's like, obviously I didn't, like, every trader, whether you took it or not, was your own discretion. But I know for me, I didn't really. By Friday, it was kind of a whatever. So that's why it pops up as of Thursday. But again, because I personally haven't traded in the past 12 months, I can't even attest to how they're performing. All I know is so much has changed. But for next year, the plan is to have a zero DTE, some sort of algorithm that can run. And again, say, today is, we've noticed 75% of the time, every time this type of instance has happened, the market does not close red today. So you can do with that what you will. For one person, it might mean they might sell some at the money puts at the open, a put credit spread, because those puts are going to be worthless if the market's not going to close red. Another person might buy an at the money call. Another person might run a broken wing call butterfly. There's so many different ways to decide to use that information. Another person might just buy a futures contract because the futures is no theta risk. So you might say, hey, if we're going to close likely 75% of the time, every time QTA has found this in the past 3 years, the market closes green on the day, then might as well just grab a futures contract and
Might as well.
and then just set a stop loss.
Yeah, and you brought up an amazing point. It's like everyone. That's why I love it when you bring up the fact that, like, it's a tool and you're a user of this tool, because you can develop a drill, and the creator of that drill has made it to the point to make their job easier. But you put that drill in someone else's hand, they can use it differently, right? But they're gonna adjust it to their own, what they're comfortable with. Like you said, that you can do a futures, you can do a long call, you could just do a butterfly. You can mend it or wield it to fit your style. And then a lot of times where I found problems with, I was going to say tools, but they're not even tools. They're more, and this is what I mentioned in chat. Like I instantly after I said it, I wanted to take it back. The whole guru thing. When people sign on, they're like, oh, what's the play for the day? What's the play for the day? Relying on another person and how they interpret it, but it might not fit to their personal style or their account size or their risk size. But with this, you can kind of look at the same data and develop their own, personal trading style. Like you came up and you mentioned all the how to get a non-directional trade, and I do apologize. I know you're like 5 seconds behind, but I'm looking at the trades we were just talking about. So you have a non-directional, like right here on the SPX, covered by the butterfly, which would, oh, actually no, that's this one is the directional, which way, and then this is the non-directional. Some people would be like, okay, that might be a little too much for me, or a little too advanced, but then you could just say, use the same data, apply it to what you're comfortable with, and then as the time goes on of using the tool, you can kind of branch off into broken wing butterflies and iron condors and things like that. Fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's exactly that. Like, I'm predominantly a swing trader first and foremost, I've always gravitated towards. So I can by Friday within more accuracy than what's again, because if I approach the market that every single day it's going to be something stupid's going to happen. That means that's just, whereas another person approaches it, like I have the friends that approach the day that's just like, this is the day they're going to nail it within the first 30 minutes of the market opens. I don't approach each day like that. To me, it's just, this is I went shopping on Monday and I've set up a lot of scenarios based on the information, and the information being, it's non-discretionary. I know where the market's was likely to be choppy this week. It was around 456. Therefore, I ran an iron fly for 456.
Nice.
That's my trade. But at the same time, I'm in disbelief that trade is going to work, because to me, the market's been at 455 for 16 days now, almost in a row. So at the same time, that doesn't make sense to me. Therefore, I'm looking for where can it go, and it's 46 and 450. So those are the trades, and those are the trades that I'm gonna take, because to me, I'm also not looking for small. I again, the start of November, the market rallied 10%. That's what I'm trying to look for. That only happens a handful of times a year. And I know in the entire year, if I only take 100 trades for the year, 10, 15 of those trades have that opportunity where I can almost make 50% of my net worth from those types of trades. I don't have to risk that much. That's my approach. QTA was built to spot that, which is why we had on October 27th, 2023, that was 2 Sigma support. That was the exact low of one of the biggest rallies in 15 years.
That's insane.
And I went long on October 27th as I shared it that Friday. That's the trades I look for. That's where I am in my career as a trader. I want those opportunities.
Yeah.
I want the opportunities that get the guys that I can call up that are in construction and real estate, that are used to working with $500,000 contracts or whatever, and I can say like, hey, this is if they're buddies of mine, it's like QTA just hit the 2 Sigma level. There's negative 450 million net GEX. I haven't seen this type of level in the past 4 years. It's similar to the lows of 2020, all that type of stuff, and it's just that's the information. That's what I can't, like, that day is when I shared it. I went crazy in the chat because knowing the opportunity. But the next opportunity, if you didn't capitalize on an opportunity like that, you're sitting here scalping for pennies. And that's my approach. Again, that's why I'm not a day trader. I'm not a scalper, because I when people are scalping for pennies, we just had a 500 point rally I don't care about a 5-point scout. it doesn't resonate with my personality or my trading style or anything. So that's the difference. It's like you have to understand where you are. Now, 4 or 5 years ago, different story. I was happy with every 5 points I could get on the ES. But
Yeah.
now, if I get a 5-point, I probably won't take the profit because I'm just like, and then it's probably going to result in a losing trade because I'm not going to trade it properly because I'm not hitting, my appetite
Yes.
is much larger. So therefore,
I totally identify with you with that. The small ones, it doesn't satisfy me, and I'm almost willing to like take a loss with it if it doesn't reach like my target. So a lot of people have the misconception of like QTA is like a zero DTE tool, but it's not.
but
I mean,
it is. It is if that's your style.
right. That's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be um, specific to zero DTE, but you can use it for these. It's just using the same data, just like, extrapolating it, expanding it to a broader compass, broader brush, I guess.
Exactly. And I mean, granted, from an opportunity standpoint, because at the end of the day, it's opportunity costs. $10,000 on October 27th of this year, if $10,000 was put into SPX calls targeting ridiculous levels, right? We're talking about 5%. It's just stagger it. 5% rally, a 8% rally, because that's what we've seen before. That was within means. I wasn't expecting a 10 or 11% rally. I've never seen 11% rally like that. So it was new. So now I know the next time I'm doing something ridiculous like that. However, 10 grand, right? Within 2.5 weeks after, if you went about 3 weeks to 4 weeks, which is what I usually, that's my timetable. It's 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. If I'm taking a directional swing trade, that's my sweet spot. I want at least around 21 DT is amazing because especially when we hit 2 sigma support. Now, 10 grand in 3 weeks out to 4 weeks out turned into, if again, this is the absurd number, if you held the whole thing, which no one would, and you caught not even the top, but you just caught remotely close to the top 20% of the move, 10 grand turned into over $300,000.
Mm-hmm.
10 grand turned into $300,000, and QTA spotted that exact low as it has many times before because all the conditions hit. Now, as a day trader, I know where I'm at as a day trader. I don't put enough risk on to ever make that type of capital as a day trader. However, I put enough risk on my swing trades to make that type of return. So I'm not willing to risk 10 grand on zero DTEs. It makes no sense to me because a zero DTE is not, I'm going to blow the 10 grand before I ever make 300,000. However,
yeah, I agree.
I know if we see over negative 300 million negative GEX and we're at 2 sigma, the last 4 instances out of 4, exactly what happened within 3 weeks. That's something we can quantify. And I understand and I know that. That's that alert right there. Look at that low on the SPY. That trigger right there, 409.61 on the SPY on that day. We look at our chart. QTA let us know. And then if we look at in the Brian's notes tabs, that's when I came in at during power hour that day, and I shared as much information as I can. That is where's the low of this 6-week rally? It is that day, and what is the exact low? 409.20 something cents, right? It's right there within 50-cent margin.
Yeah.
And the SPY's at 4.6. That's a 50-something point rally. I have to refrain from even, cursing, if you will, but my brain goes, what the fuck do I care about a zero DTE trade? And just give me that opportunity. Show me that again. And that's why I get giddy. That's why I get crazy around those. I have to keep myself, I have to call my trading buddies to keep me in check because I want to go all in. I'm fighting that degenerate urge from the 2020 trading days where we all went crazy. And that's those are the comments in the notes there. And, it started in the gold chat as I'm sharing that. That's the quantifiable information and data that I want because I know that's how I can make I haven't had a 6-figure trade yet. My limit is I'm stuck around 20,000 or so. Like I've in all my trading, I just can't get to a certain level. And I know the whole point of even the development of QTA was how do I get to that point, even for myself, where I can say, we comfortably speaking, because I have buddies. I know those types of traders that can be like, yeah, I'm going to put 30 grand on this, and for the month, this is probably going to make 100 grand, and that's their trade. And then they're dormant. They probably take maybe 5 to 10 trades for the year. And those guys, I look up to them. Those are the guys that have been trading, 2-3 times longer than me. So that's my aspirations. They're not looking at a lot of the zero DTs because a lot of that will distract you. And even within the gold chat, as I said today, like I'm looking for the next move I can sink my teeth into. The type of opportunity that the market is providing right now, it's not giving that type of clues. There isn't anything in the data saying that's going to happen. So therefore, I'm almost going a little crazy because I'm waiting. Even the reason why I have the time right now to even be on this live. Usually, I don't have the time to be on this type of webinar because I already have enough of an edge and I already have most of my trades running and I'm kind of set. But the market has been driving me crazy for the past 2 weeks because it isn't giving any clues of anything. So now I'm spending more time just staring at the market because you get into that cycle where you don't want to miss anything. So it's providing more time for me to be able to observe, but that's not necessarily what I want. I want to be able to, as most traders, I think the market creates that opportunity where you can comfortably spend maybe 15 to 20 hours a week. You spend your Sundays preparation, your Mondays pre-market, which is why I've been releasing those videos. Draw out your gamma levels in your chart, look at your risk profile, assess what type of, strategies you want to implement. And then if you trade spreads, you have a lot of advantages. And then you run your trades and you execute and you check in if something's broken. You know what I mean? Like if same thing with anything in life. It's you build something, if it's working, you don't need to fix it. It's working.
That's
So
a great point. If
yeah,
it broke, don't fix it, but just
exactly.
monitor it. For any type of extreme fluctuation that might seem unrecoverable, I guess.
Exactly, and that's how I started. That's how I started this week. And again, I have iron condors that expire in January, of course, but those are not worth even talking about. They're so boring. I've been in it for almost 2 weeks now. There's nothing going on there.
and it just to show everyone that boring is one of those things that is a human thing. Like computers don't get bored with a trade. Computers say, oh, you know what? We have a target of say 451 on NVDA. I'm going to stay in that target unless there's some major disruption that we need to address and fix it, right? But a computer will stay into it until it's either completion or it's broken. But like you said, bored. I get bored. I'm going to want to do stuff. And someone once told me back at Morgan Stanley, like, a bored trader is a successful trader. And you come out of these other live people that, you get different back then in 2021 and 2020 with AMC. And like you were mentioning earlier, how much different of a trading environment it was back then. You could throw a dart at a board that's full of tickers and you'd be 80% say you would probably make some sort of profit off of it. But to learn how to trade now in this environment, it's like you train in a mission in the worst weather, like in like for football. If you train in super cold environments and you play in beautiful environments, you might be better, as opposed to vice versa. Like the Miami Dolphins might do terrible in Green Bay, but vice versa, it wouldn't be. Kind of going off on a tangent here, but so a lot of people are thinking like, oh, I had it, but I've lost some kind of an edge. I lost an edge. It might not be personal. It might just be that the markets are changing, but the data is still there. And you always making a good point. A good reference is not to look at data previous to 2020 because it's totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the open, high, low, close table, which is something that I haven't really dived into as much, but as a data person, I can imagine this is like a gold mine.
Yeah, it's one of those things. So the first, 6 months, a year or so, I focused on it, but then after a while, there isn't really much of a, in my opinion, even for me, the focus for me is on the gamma exposure and the SPY, 0 DTE overall chart. But this is more so if something happens that I have no prior context, like if Tesla is above the buy zone, above the sell zone on a Monday, I'll go check the open, high, low, close table because I'll just want to know. You just press the toggle date, or say, for example, you can look at it on the SPY or Tesla or any symbol. I'm just using Tesla's example because I took a trade on this back in, I think it was 2021. And then it's letting me, okay, so I can just glance right there and see that Monday. Look at that Monday, 8th week of the year. The 8th week, so that's the third. Just keep going down.
Oh,
right there. That's okay. So then you don't have to click it, but that's just letting me know. Okay, so it did it once. Oh, yeah, I said you didn't have.
So there we go. Delayed. It's delayed.
Oh,
sorry.
Gotcha. So it broke resistance on that Monday. It's letting us know it did it that one time. So that's 1 week. I might then jump to that Friday on that chart and then see what did that week look like. That's the point of the open line. It's only if something that I haven't really seen or I can't think about, prior context, and I want to. It's a resource tab. It's like the encyclopedia. Like, we're not reading the encyclopedia all day long, but we know where to go if we want to check some information. So that's that Monday, and we scroll down and see if it happened again.
On the 26th.
And there's another time, and you scroll all the way to the bottom, and then it'll just tell us the percentage. There we go. So 8.33% of the time this year, Tesla broke the weekly resistance on a Monday. So then then I might just click into each of those and then see what did those weeks look like. And then I'm trying to find a previous context to what could happen. Maybe let's just say Tesla was above the sell zone this week. That's what this tab, that's more so how I would use this page now, is just to go back and see, what happened. Or sometimes it's very rare for the SPY to break the sell zone and the buy zone within the same week. So if it does that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this page and I'm going to say, like, hey, the last time it did that, or last couple times it did that, what happened?
Yeah.
Because it's
Show
kind
it
of
to me.
yeah, it's kind of bizarre. It says we scroll this, so I'm not seeing any examples there. Nothing so far. If we keep going down, nothing so far. What we're looking for is a red and green within the same week. That's so yeah. Also that week. So that week, the 41st week, right there. You see
Yeah.
I'm going off of the week numbers on the left hand, the far left. That's how I know what 41 is. Yeah. So that 41 right there. Yeah, that week. So then on the far right, where it says the actual close column. Yep. Click that.
And this is my bandwidth, by the way. That I have too many things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is just an example, because that's a pretty bizarre week, and I'm gonna want to know, well, what did price action look like that week, and then I'm also going to think. So look at how bizarre that week. On Monday we were at the sell zone. Tuesday, price gapped down, and then it went higher, and then it just downtrended. So then I'm gonna check, was there some sort of catalyst that week? Was it an F1? Like, what happened?
Right.
But it's not very common for that. Price action looks pretty bizarre. And then I'm gonna look at the SPY daily chart on TOS, and then I'll just be able to be like, oh yeah, it makes sense. We were, let's just say we were at all-time highs or something. I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. The market tried to pull in a new all-time high and it got rejected, and then it sold off. So that's the main purpose. It's more so it's an encyclopedia page. It's like you go to reference the same thing with like the candle stats tab or the other stuff. It's when I'm trying to find prior context for what I shared even earlier this week, where I showed the net changes, how they've been so low for the past 16 days. I just looked that up pretty quickly in QTA, and I can't recall the last time the SPY has barely been moving, from a previous day's close to the current day's close. It's been less than 0.6% on 15 out of 16 of the last occurrences. So that's just information. No, it means every day I'm talking right now. I ran a 0DT iron condor, but I didn't put 10 grand in it. I put 2,000.
Right.
Because I'm nervous, because any given day now, we're not going to stay stuck like this for weeks. We probably maybe have 2-3 more weeks like this. Maybe, who knows? There's no way. All I know is every day I run a smaller and smaller 0DT iron condor. And then what type of 0DT iron condor? If you head back to the Discord.
Got it. And where do you want me to look in Discord?
The SPX 0DTE tab.
Okay.
The feed of gamma exposure.
Gotcha.
Now, everything that I shared earlier in chat was context, but then as we pull, you can just click that most recent one, for example.
Okay.
I'm looking at where prices, the gamma exposure doesn't really it's pretty flat in between. All the way from max pain is at 45.60. And then we have these big bars showing up at 45.85, right? Where does the large bar? We have the largest negative bar is where?
Right here, 45.60 with max pain.
Exactly. And then where's the largest green bar?
45.85.
Exactly. And where's price? In between the two of them, right?
Yeah.
So as I was talking to you earlier,
Right. One on
I'm
this
like,
side, one on this side, 4.5
yeah, I'm
and
like,
4.6.
and meanwhile, in between, there isn't really much going on there. The gamma exposure is pretty muted. It just looks choppy. And I know with like I looked at that, and then obviously I looked at price action and what I shared earlier when I was sharing. There isn't really much of an edge. We have the 2-day anchor view up, which is below. We hit the 2-day anchor view up, the SPY bounce, which is to be expected. It looked like a good setup here. That was the first thing, but shorts need the SPY to be below the 2-day anchor view up. But it's going to be hard for it to get below the 2-day anchor view up, especially with all that support below it. So it's not really a good quality, trade to short. So I shorted those puts, and that was the first part of my iron condor. Then on the other end, to the upside, how high can we potentially go? Well, I know there's a ton of gamma at 460, but the gamma profile for the 0DTE is showing me we might reach some resistance around 45.85. So I feel comfortable knowing if we get higher than 45.85, then maybe I'll prematurely make an adjustment to the iron condor. But this entire time, as I've been talking to you, I haven't been in trouble because price has been sideways in between that range. There's a 0DTE trade for you just looking at that 0DTE gamma exposure table and price action, understanding context. Now, would I brand myself a 0DTE expert? By no means, no. To me, this is where I say at times it's just common sense. I'm just looking at, I know what the 2-day anchor viewer provides, the opportunities it provides for longs. I know that shorts need us to be below, but if we just look at the chart, it makes no sense to short below today's low. That makes no, you're shorting into so much support. I know as a short, why would you short into all that support? And if we look at in the Discord, I believe in the gold chat, I would have shared. Let me see if I shared it. Yeah. So at 9:40 a.m. Eastern time today.
The intraday signals right now
No.
are mixed and directionally.
Yeah, there and then but 9:40, so a little bit right. Yeah, just scroll up a little bit more right there.
Talk about mixed signals.
Yeah, there we go. So right there. So that the channel, and then below there's just a chart because sometimes I like to just share a picture. I hate reading stuff in Discord. It's like just show me a picture. I don't want to see numbers or anything. And then the picture right below it.
Okay. Yeah, that's for sure. It's pictures. It brings it all together.
Exactly. There we go. Boom. What do we see? 2-day anchor view up. What's right next to 2-day anchor view up? That yellow line that's shining right through this whole week. That's the week to date point of control. So we have the week to date point of control. We have the 2-day anchor view out right where I pulled that arrow. Then what do we have right below that? We have the absolute gamma strike, 456. That was plotted from the start of the week. Then what do we have right below that? We have 455. That's been the absolute gamma strike. It's been the gamma flip strike. It's been the highest open interest. All that support.
Yeah.
Who in their right mind was to short into all of that?
And then conversely, on the top of it, there's nothing all the way up until the 459, like you were saying earlier, the 459 area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then, as I look at that's earlier this morning, I look at that, and then I look at the gamma exposure, and I'm saying, oh, it makes no sense anyway. I'm gonna run an iron condor. Now the iron condor, it didn't mean it was supposed to. It's been working out great. Hence, again, while I'm talking, theta decay it's going amazing. But at the same time, it's not great because I'm not running them at the size I used to run them a few months ago because the implied volatility is so low. So I didn't really get that much premium for selling this iron condor. So it's not as fun, and that's part of the thing. But am I going to come in tomorrow and run an iron condor? Probably not. It's a Friday after consolidation. I'm looking for volatility again. But I already have my trade. It's my double calendars that we started this one-on-one, that we started this we started this live webinar with, showcasing. I already planned for that on Monday. So if you're sitting around waiting for, if you're looking for a guy like, oh, what's this guy trade? It's just like that's my trade for Monday. I'm already in it. If we go to 4,500, we go to 4,600, I'm probably gonna make about $2,000, $2,500 tomorrow, and my risk for this whole week was less than $300.
That's not a bad turnaround right there.
Exactly. And
low risk and high reward, and that's the completely opposite of the scalping that a lot of people are they're gravitating to. They want the in, the out, almost to the point where it's borderline gambling. But if you take a look at the data, like you were just explaining, all this data that you were, all the confluence, really, like when we looked at this line, wasn't just one thing showing us, oh, the 2-day VWAP is there, this is a good entry. But you used that with the point of control underneath of it, and then the absolute gamma strike right there. That is like a strong. You're just building a story and having like you're building a case. That's what I should say. You're building a case and you're trying to, and then put weight behind it, and that's I think the best part about using data before a trade. And where I came from, and I know we've had this conversation before about using, and I kind of nicely refer to it as traditional charting, right? But that's really what it is. It's like you see the trend lines, you'll see the support levels and the resistance levels, but then when you add the GEX levels, the absolute gammas, that where it doesn't, I wouldn't be able to tell this, maybe from a trained eye you might, but I wouldn't be able to see an absolute gamma level on this. I would have to resort to the quant table. Using them together, I think it's been amazing for me, at least,
Amazing. Happy to hear that. As again, another person looking at this or even listening to this would be like, what is he talking about? It's too much. Yeah. There's so much going on, but at the same time, it can't get any easier for me. The whole point of why I made all this is like, again, the bulk of the trades is it took me less than 2 minutes to figure out an iron condor was a great trade to run. It's the same thing with any professional athlete or something. When somebody, if you play golf and you're at the highest level, you don't need to whip out a tool and gauge the wind speeds and look at the terrain and measure the distance. You can spot it and then you swing because you've done so much work. You don't have to think about it. The same thing with driving. If you're great at driving, you're not thinking about I have to press the brake and I have to decelerate and I have to move my foot, I have to change the gear. You just know what you're doing. It's only when you're first learning it seems like it's so much or it's overwhelming. That's how you take it one step at a time. But it took a while, obviously, to get here. But the point is, it's just if you take one step, if you say you're going to focus the next 3 months, you want to get really good at 0 DTE iron condors. That is an aspiration of mine. But in order for me to start trading that, I want a 0 DTE algorithm to assist because I want something to cipher through as much data. Because everything which we combined was visual for me. I was able to look at the chart. I was able to understand. Again, it started with the context. The context of things is we gapped up above the 2-day anchor VWAP. I've done 4 or 5 videos on YouTube explaining if the market is downtrend and we gap up over the 2-day anchor VWAP, it's unlikely that it's going to go back below it. So what do we get? If you're a scalper and you know that, the SPY sold off to the 2-day anchor VWAP and then it bounced, and we had the SPX bounced about 15 points. That's a great trade for a scalper. Congratulations. I'm going to applaud you. I knew that was likely to happen, but I didn't take the trade. That's not the trade I wanted. So if you're going to sit there, I'm sharing the thought process and explaining in these videos, which is why I do videos on why does that happen. That's one of my favorite videos that I've done on YouTube is why does the 2-day anchor VWAP work so well? And I try to showcase exactly why it is. If you absorb that, you want to get really good at 2-day anchor VWAP, especially after gap up days and so forth. Their information is there, and I've tried to educate because another trader, that might be their primary source of trading income is that 2-day anchor VWAP after we gap up. So I'm making sure that type of trade is secure. I understand and see that opportunity, but it's not the trade I'm going to take because I don't want to. Because I want to see if I'm looking for that 3-4% move. I'm looking for something a little bit juicier, and I know the opportunity is that you're just going to scalp that from the 2-day anchor VWAP. You're going to take profit at intraday VWAP, and then you're taking profit at the higher day. Those moves, it's not large enough for me right now, and I didn't see any reasons to think we're going to go straight to 460. I mean, I could have been wrong. I'm wrong plenty of times. I might have, let's just say I was scalping today and decided to grab that at the lower day, right at the 2-day anchor VWAP, and I took profit at VWAP, and I took profit at the higher day. I'm that guy that would then cry, like, oh, crap, we went straight to 460. I should have held, the trade. Exactly. Exactly. But I know that's not the trade in which I was even coming in looking for. So it's not the trade in which I was taking. I just shared it with you guys. I shared where the, before the market even opened a game plan. Again, when I shared that picture in the gold chat, the SPY wasn't at the 2-day anchored VWAP, right? The market had opened. It was 10 minutes after the market opened. We weren't there yet. I'm already sharing, that's where you want to look. That's where support should come in.
Oh, you mean in Discord at 9:40?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That we weren't there yet. It's not I'm not saying after the fact or I'm not waiting till I got in the trade. No, it's if you're looking for that trade, this is the scenarios, and at the same time, 2-day anchor VWAP, confluence, everything's there. If you're a scalper, there you go. Risk 5 points, make 15 points. 3-to-1 risk reward. I know Chloe, he's a scalper, so I've had many one-on-ones with him. I know he's been doing a lot. He's back tested every single day of QTA, I think, in the past month or so. He just went to every day on the open, high, low, close. He opened them up. He plotted them in his own spreadsheets. He has his own data. So now he knows he has a 0 DTE system for himself. And at the same time, he's also trying to be a 0 DTE iron condor trader. He wants to be able to, on the SPX, run 0 DTE iron condors, and he has a system for trading the futures using the SPY gamma levels and the SPY QTA levels. So he has a system for himself. He did that. He did the work. He'll probably be able to, pay himself for life now with being able to come up with a system for himself. And that's the point of that. If you put in that type of, analysis, the data and the information is there. I'm here. I'm going to assist. I'm going to share, the thoughts and ideas and assist and help with questions along the way.
Mhm.
But for closed trade, as I mentioned, like I wouldn't take my response is like I'm glad obviously it's a trade for him, but I'm looking for that trade that I can sink my teeth into. That was essentially, what I was trying to elaborate on. And I know that 2-day anchor VWAP bounce, it wasn't going to be satisfying for where I'm at. And I wouldn't have taken it with 10 ES contracts. It's too big for me for ES. At most I probably would have been in at 2,
Yeah.
And I mean it's good money. Don't get me wrong. It's not as bad. You get 15 points on the ES. That's a good trade. Like 15 points times $50 times 2 contracts. You're pulling in $1,500 on that trade, which is great. However, I'm at a different stage in my career where I'm more happy right now if I take an iron condor and I make $400 on an iron condor. I'm happier with that than I would be than scalping an ES contract because I know where I'm planning to head also. I want to be running 0 DTE credit spreads. I want to be running 0 DTE iron condors. I like that path personally. It makes less money, but it has.
Sorry to interrupt. I want to agree with you so much on a point that you came up with that a lot of times, especially with credit spreads, you're putting up a lot of capital to make a small amount of income. That's different type of investing. That's generating income. You're getting not a safer bet. I don't want to say it like that, but more of a secured play. But then you have the scalping where it's like, okay, on the futures that might be perfect. And by the way, I opened a futures account New Year's Eve of 2022 to 2023. I have yet to fund it, so I'm definitely behind when it comes to futures and talk like that. So anytime I get something that I usually refer it to someone else. But I do like and appreciate how to use. By the way, I sent you a message about the my quant charts are having trouble loading, but I can load the oval charts fine. I don't know if that's just on my end or not. I don't know if everyone else is. Oh, I got a gateway timeout now.
Yeah, sometimes.
Is that me?
Let me see here.
But just to on that point, using the QTA data, I can wait for that move where I can, like you said, on October 27th, you were expecting a nice big move there instead of just going in for the typical scalp play.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I find that I started to live with QTA. I'm doing more out of the money directional. I'm still sticking to directional. I think just because I've been burned, not monetarily wise on spreads, but just like exhausted from it because where I came from is all spreads all the time, and I just you want to break out and do something on your own anyway. But to be able to see where the data may be going in a more of a lengthier move and less risk up front and more of a reward, I think that's where I've found great success.
Yeah, and yeah, because it is, it's again, this whole thing started with understanding opportunity. It's where the
Yes.
opportunity is, and that's the point. So the point is, for traders such as myself, I trade futures, I trade equity, I trade options, I trade spreads, I sell spreads, I sell options. If you
Yeah.
if you trade all these different things, I'm going to. It's like a person that speaks 5 languages. They dream in different languages. They're not just speaking English in their minds. It's a similar situation for a person like myself. However, a person that doesn't speak multiple languages can't understand that concept if all you do is only speak English. How are you to dream in the same way in which a person like me will dream? I'm that person that in actuality I don't speak multiple languages. I'm just using it as an analogy. I have friends
Mm-hmm.
that I have a lot of friends that are European, and they grow up learning multiple languages, and we have had multiple conversations about this. As a person such as myself, that's how I look at the market. It's a lot more colorful to me. I see so much more opportunity. So I'm thinking that way. I'm not thinking about, yeah, if the market breaks out, I'm not trading spreads. We just break out of this range. Oh my God. I'm just buying futures contracts, and might buy some really cheap out the money options, and then maybe I'll get some zero DTE hedging if I need, because I might go with size that's probably too much, and there's the trade. And then I'm just gonna let that play out because I'm expecting a 1.5% move on the SPX or so. Boom, that's my trade for the day. Let it play itself out. Let it run its course. And then the week right after, I'm gonna run a zero DT iron fly because I'm not gonna expect it to go anywhere. It's gonna consolidate. I know what happens with, from Fridays into Mondays. Statistically, what has occurred this year? I've done a video on that. Implied volatility, what happens on the course from it has this decline on Fridays into Mondays, and it tends to sometimes pick up on a Tuesday. If nothing has happened by Wednesday, there's a chance that we might see some sort of unexpected move on a Thursday going to Friday, and then it dies out again. So it's that type of understanding. It means I'm going to go in that wave because I'm a volatility trader also, which means I'm selling iron condors, I'm selling iron butterflies. So I'm looking at an extra dimension in the market. It's not just about price to me. The reason I'm in on so many calendars is because I'm looking for an expansion in implied volatility. If I wasn't expecting this expansion in implied volatility, I wouldn't be in calendar spreads. I'll be running maybe iron flies, or I might be just trading puts. If there was more clues that we might actually sell off, I would just buy some puts. 35 DTE, 40 DTE puts used to be my sweet spot. Just grab those. You can get them far out the money. You probably get a four, something that's 30 points down on the SPY, super cheap. And if the SPY pulls down 10 to 15 points, which it can do, that's not that unrealistic for it. We're just talking about not even a 2 sigma sell-off. Just a regular bad week in the SPY, you could be looking at a volatility expansion and those puts to increase. So that's if that opportunity is there. That opportunity isn't there. So it's about understanding. First, you have to understand who you are. Then you have to
Yeah.
understand what style resonates with you, and then you hyper expose yourself to different things, and then you learn, and then you get to a point, hopefully, that you can understand these different languages, and then you can choose which languages works. And it's a very reminiscent of languages and traveling. If you're going
Immersive.
to, yeah, if you're going to France, yes, some in Paris, some of them speak English, but you would want to be able to speak French.
Right.
And that's
You
the
want to know where the
opportunity.
bathrooms are, not just the library.
Exactly, and that's the opportunity. Right now, the market is speaking English. It's just going sideways. It's just being choppy. So I'm gonna speak English. I'm gonna think in English. Then, if it changes up, could be volatility trending up. It could be if we finally break and start closing below 454. Are we going to fill those gaps below us? If we're going to fill those gaps below us, I'm not going to speak English. I might start speaking Russian. It's a little bit more harsh. That's me buying puts because I'm going to be expecting some bloodbaths in the market. So
You're right.
it's different. It's understanding, and that's why it's always the context is what matters. The market will be crazy volatile and trendy and going down, and people are running zero DTE iron condors, and they're getting blown out every day, and then they're like, oh, why do I keep getting blown out? It's just like, what are you doing?
What? Yes. Oh man, you've made up some really great analogies, and coming from a person who's uses analogies a lot, I respect it.
Hmm.
But
There,
you made a good point about just jumping in and get hyper exposed to things, and then kind of see what works with it, and that makes a lot of sense. Getting into something, learning the absolute juice out of it, and then learning something else, learning everything about that, and then at the end of the day, you have all these things to choose from and see what works best for you. And with QTA, there's so many facets. You can get hyper focused, and I still can't pull up my quant charts. I don't know what's happening with my end.
Yeah, this is me. This is why I'm not supposed to be. I'm supposed to be working on Tuesday. This is why I can't be on.
Someone must be doing something else over there. What is he? What is he on a conference call or something?
I have to go do some QTA work right now. I've definitely been chatting with you for too long. But again, that's also the thing. It's like as a developing programmer, like it's not just the trading. It's like other people that are just have people following them for trading. It's different. If I didn't take a single trade for the next year, it doesn't mean you shouldn't take a single trade. My full-time job technically is a developer.
Yes, developing the thing that you're using.
Exactly. I have to go check in on the servers where I have to understand what's going on. I have to go I have to open up the code. Something's wrong right now, and this is what happens if there's been the throttle, as ever since Thanksgiving, some stuff has been a little bit buggy, and I have to make sure whatever's going on, we're not hitting the throttle. And I already set up a separate server, but I don't know if I need to set up some. I have to go to work pretty much.
Yes, I got it.
And that's why, in addition to everything else that's going on, that's still major priority, and that's something that people forget to. If you're just following some guy that's just like talking about trades and signals, he's probably not a developer. He's not a coder or anything. He's not actively building. He's not trying to work on a 0DTE algorithm. That the 0DTE algorithm, once that's built and it's implemented into QTA and it's shared, there you go. You have your 0DTE formula for yourself. It's already there with all the information, with the gamma exposure and the 0DTE intraday script and all these stuff. But if you want an extra edge with something given a directional edge, or something that's giving a sideways edge, that's coming too. But I have to build it. I just spent, I don't know how long we've been talking. Has it been an hour or two? I have no idea. But all I know is that 2 hours, I would have already been 2 hours into coding. And that's why I can't afford. That's why the first year once QTA was in its very infancy stage, I was doing these much more frequently. But the longer I do these, the more delayed some of the new features, some of the new features get delayed, as well as some of the new updates get delayed. But also some of the bugs don't get properly addressed, and then I also don't get the time to actually record. In this 2-hour session, my plan actually, as I'm talking to you now, was I was going to record 3 videos today. So now those 3 videos to help explain for people that now join QTA, they're not done.
Oh, sorry, new people. Sorry.
That's yeah. Anyway.
I imagine it almost like the magic trick of you're spinning plates on those little rods, and you have to keep back and you spin the other plates to keep them afloat and constantly giving the other one attention. But I did record the last 48 minutes of what we had, so we might be able to salvage something and put it together. But you got to go do your day job, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say enough how much I enjoyed it, and hope we get to do it again sometime.
Yeah, I think I'm totally here for it. It's same like as I told you this time. You continue to do your thing. It's great, super entertaining. Whenever I get the chance, I'll pop on. I'll let you know, and then we'll definitely do some scheduled ones. I don't really know if anyway other than Ingrid, if anyone from QTA is even in here. I don't. I only see Mitch and Evan in the chat. I don't know who those guys are. Oh, well, there's Tesla. There's a Tesla Theta. I know he's in QTA and Ingrid, so there's 2 of them. But I'm pretty sure this would have been a great session for anybody that's in QTA.
Yeah, for sure, both users and potential users. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent, Bryant of QTA. Thank you very much. Go do that coding.
Will do, man. Take care.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. Excellent.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Well, that was Bryant from QTA, and I recorded it. So if I understood that Ingrid saying that she could hear it clearly. Evan wasn't able to, but either way, I did record the last almost hour of it, so we'll be able to put something together and work it from there. That was see, now all of a sudden things are he's working. You can tell things are happening. But I felt bad. I felt like I felt like I was interviewing the bus driver as we're all on the school trip together. Just be able to get him away for a few seconds. And this was really interesting look into anyone that's not a part of QTA and how much he explains what he's in with this is Quant. No, this is not Quant. What is this? Options Strat. Options Strat. I got made fun of because I don't use it. I'm a little old school. I use the options calculator. But how he goes behind the scenes and he doesn't just show you, hey guys, look at this. You know, I'm looking at the SPY, blah, 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 and people follow blindly. He gives reasons why, and you know, he says pictures, and I think it's amazing. I mean, that's a lot of work to show exactly what he's doing. He can easily just do that and be happy with it. He even gave you his numbers, what he's looking at. But wasn't that was great. Aside from the immense technical, I wouldn't say failures because we ended up getting it, but that is 100% my fault. I really should have had him. We could have done a dry run last night, but it was more impromptu. You know, it's my end also. I mean, you know, the scheduling doesn't allow so much future scheduling, right? If that makes sense. I can't really plan on what my next Wednesday is going to be, but when I do see something that clears up, you know, we take advantage of it. But I did record the last 48 minutes. Maybe we'll make a little video out of it, chop it up, and make something a little more presentable. But wow, that was a lot. And sorry, Evan, he wasn't. I guess the whole time you weren't able to hear him. That's terrible. I'm sorry, man. But we'll get it there. And there was a delay too, and I apologize about that too. I'm apologizing just about for everything, but it is what it is. We'll get it. But I like the idea, and that I use traditional charting, which is what I've been using for ever since I learned it 20 years ago. The regular charting that we see here, along with QTA, and I'll pull that up once that gets going again. No, this one's still on timeout. The GEX charts are working. It's just the quant charts I'm having trouble with. The old vol charts are back up. So the difference between the old vol charts and the quant charts that we were talking about is on the SPY and the Qs, there's option volume, what we call them the old vol, and it just has more information just because there's a larger sampler size, right? There's more data, so we're able to have more data, I guess. Silliest way of saying it. But there are things like the previous volume range, how we were plotting our charts for the day, and I think was it SPY? Right, we used the previous day's high and the overnight low. That's the way I would normally plot a chart. I would just say, okay, this is the previous one, and this is what we have to go with. With the zero volume chart, or OVOL, sorry, you can have more information. So what we have here, we have 458, or actually maybe 458.86. Make that one orange. And on the low end, we have the 454.69. And then we pull on the OVOL chart, and we'll switch over to SPY. We can then use these levels to either confirm or negate any type of levels we have. We probably wouldn't negate it, but it would just either add to it or not. Now, am I having an issue with? Yeah. See, this is what happens when you steal the wizard away from the whatever the wizard does. My analogies are being flushed right now. I feel really bad that I tore him away at such an opportune or critical time. Yeah, so just a little background on Brian. He's a coder, obviously, a trader, and a filmmaker. So what QTA does is give him the opportunity to trade the way he does and, live out his passion. Because sometimes our passion of what we like to do does not align with getting the funds we need to do that passion. But with trading, you have that ability. If you're into it, if you're good at trading and you're picking up QTA just takes a lot of time out of the prep. And what Bryant was saying is like he was able to look at it and he posted in the Discord 10 minutes after open just by glancing up at what he was looking at, able to post that in Gold Chat and move on about his day. And I think that's a real goal, or a goal at least of mine and people that I work with, is that you want to not be staring at charts all day. Even though I do it and I love it, you want to have the ability that you don't need to. That's really what it is. So even though that Bryant would be working on coding all day, on the user end, on the consumer end, we can look at this, the 940, we can look at the charts he pointed out, and even if he didn't point it out, we can pull up these charts ourselves. We can see this opportunity. Okay, I see this, I see that. We'll place this trade, we'll place that trade, and then we can go put our toes in the sand or something at the beach. Just something to think about. It's not something to tie you down more to a trade. 2-hour session for doc. You record at least 40 minutes of it and share it once uploaded. Okay, pressure's on. The idea of sitting for 8 hours staring at a chart doesn't have to be that. If you like doing it like I do, that's fine. But QTA is supposed to minimize the work and maximize the rewards. If that's fair enough to say. Now, I did say around noon we would have like a little bit more of a demo, but I want to make sure everything is 100% up and up. And maybe we'll do that at another time. It's safe to say that there were issues today. It's safe to say that it was not 100%. But you know what? I really appreciate everyone that was here and put up with it, essentially. Now I lost the chat. There it is. Okay. Ingrid, always positive. Thank you, Mila. That was awesome. That was great. She said, that's great. And for sure, guys. And don't forget, oh, yeah, here's the anyone who is new to QTA and is thinking about signing up, you can use that link that's posted in chat, and I'll pin it if I can. Oh, yeah, now everything is slowing down. On my end, not really QTA wise, but come on, get there. Can't have it. Anyway, it's posted in chat right there. The sometimes wait. Okay, definitely. Pedro, I'll get to you. I'm just gonna wrap it up, and I'll get to you right away. Oh wow. So where do we leave off? On NVIDIA, just wanted to touch, because this is what we started off. I said, okay, we come down. If we do reach up and touch the top of a trend and we hold that, I'd be more inclined for more of a move down to test this 450 again. If this breaks above NVIDIA and then we hold above this level, the 460, we can go up higher. I would like to, use some confluence in checking the QTA, but I'm gonna shut everything down, restart everything, and then take it from there. But before I go, I really want to thank you guys. You guys have been awesome. And just as a thank you, if you were thinking of signing up for QTA, use that code DOC35. That will get you a month for, I think it's like $140, which is essentially just over the price of paying for 2 weeks. So the weekly option is there, but I really highly recommend just getting the month out of it, and you'll be able to get in, absorb it. And then I'm in the chat almost all the time. All the people in Evan, Ingrid, they're all in chat. Really good community, real professional, and that's the way we like to roll. But we're definitely going to do this again, and I guarantee you, we'll probably have more problems. No, we should be more fluid next time. And I guess this was the dry run. How about that? Now, see, this is where you start thinking positive. This was the dry run. For further, next time can only be better, right? But I do want to thank you guys. I just want to turn this on just for a second here. So yes, I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I just made my hair worse for some reason. But we'll definitely do this again. And comment in the video below. Tell me how much you did not like this stream because it was so messed up. But no, comment any questions or anything like that, and we'll try and address them. And if you have any serious questions, or you want to schedule something to find out more or how to do something, hit me up in the email up there, stockdoc2k@gmail.com. The website is still not up yet. That's all on me. That's oneononestocks.com, but we'll get there, and we'll do it right. So thank you. Hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell because we don't do this often, but when we do, you're going to miss insane good times like this. All right? Thank you, guys. Thanks so much. I mean, any other questions, you can type them in the chat on below. I'm going to end the stream, but the chat will be open, if that makes sense. And I'll try and address them. But thanks again, and